Chapter 635. That's not all. Back in the day, the ancient Son of Heaven used this talisman to suppress everything, open up a myriad of worlds, and determine the fate of heaven. This talisman can amplify the power of magic and sacrifice. The Dharma saints will spread out. This time, I'll upgrade all of the Dharma realms to a medium-class world. If I don't rely on the power of the heavenly sacrifice talisman, I won't succeed. Wu Dankong, if I succeed, I'll give you 30% control. Many thanks, Your Excellency Dharma Saint. These are the conditions we agreed on long ago. Wu Dankong opened the Sun-Moon altar. She had benefited greatly from this refinement, especially since she could use the power of the heavenly sacrifice talisman even more. In the hands of Guchen Sha and her, this talisman could only be used as a sacrifice and for hiding. It had no offensive power, but in the hands of the ancient Son of Heaven, this talisman could suppress and destroy everything. Even the old antiques feared it. This treasure was as famous as the prehistoric Dragon Gate. How could it only be used for simple sacrifices and hiding? The offensive power of the heavenly sacrifice talisman was astonishing. It could even kill a celestial. The Dharma Saint knew many of its secrets, and was now helping Wu Dankong unlock another secret of the heavenly sacrifice talisman. It could actually amplify the power of sacrifice. Immediately, the 13 Dharma gods entered the Sun-Moon altar and began their sacrifice. However, they weren't sacrificing to the heavenly Tao, but to the Dharma minor worlds. At this time, Wu Dankong activated the Son of Heaven God sealing art. Sure enough, after the Sun-Moon altar's expansion, the power of sacrifice was enormous, almost 10 times greater. This is borrowing the Tao of Heaven. It's not difficult to borrow again. We're borrowing the power of heaven, and when we succeed, we'll pay it back. The Dharma saints said, I'm afraid the ancient Son of Heaven didn't comprehend this. The power of the heavenly sacrifice talisman is to communicate with heaven. Now, after communicating with heaven, we can borrow its power. This is the true essence. With the help of the heavenly Tao, hearing the Dharma saint's words, Wu Dankong seemed to understand something. That's right, borrow power from the heavens and return it in the future, just like how you borrow money from others. The Dharma saint said, hurry up and do it. Our success or failure depends on this. Rumble. Under the guidance of the Dharma saint, Wu Dankong unleashed her strongest cultivation. She seemed to have truly begun to comprehend the secrets of the sacrificial heaven decree. The 13 divine-level experts from the school of legalism have been expanded by the heaven sacrificial talisman. The power of the sacrificial offerings and the world's power that they had unleashed was equivalent to 130 divine-level experts. With such tremendous power, all the magical realms opened up and endless chaotic forces descended. They were then modified and squirmed, causing the world to expand rapidly. At this time, the Dharma saints suddenly roared. The true God's throne emitted many runes and actually completely fused with the world. The Tao of the true God, the changes of the world, the birth of creation, the brightness of the sun and moon. The Dharma saint activated his strongest sage Tao. Instantly, the torrent of 10,000 worlds appeared in the school of legalism's minor kiliacosm once again. It was unknown where he got this boundless power from. If it wasn't for that little thief stealing the law tree, all-encompassing destruction rod, 3-realm seal, and other primordial treasures, I would have long since turned this minor kiliacosm into a medium-grade world. Why would I have waited until now? When the Dharma saint thought of this, he felt some hatred toward the tranquil, immortal department. Guchen Sha had stolen those treasures and even extorted the Amitabha prayer banner from the imperial court, as well as F.A. Wuxian's enforcement blade. In other words, the school of legalism had lost a total of 8 primordial treasures. No matter which sect it was, even the Black Heaven Earth sect, they would find it hard to bear such a loss. Of course, the school of legalism was slightly better off than the Wu clan. The Wu clan had been completely wiped out by Guchen Sha. All of the treasury had been stolen, and even Wu Pagong had become a slave. Now, one-third of the Wu clan's control over the martial saint's paradise had been seized by the Tranquil Immortal Department. The Tranquil Immortal Department could make a move at any time and take over the entire martial saint's paradise, erasing the Wu clan from the world. Even Wu Dangkong couldn't do anything about such a situation. Therefore, Wu Dangkong could only cooperate with the Dharma Saint. He hoped that the Dharma Saint would be able to refine a medium-grade world and gain control over a portion of it. Then, he would use the power of the medium-grade world to suppress the Wu clan and seize control over all the minor kiliocosms, subduing King Wu Yu and the other deity-level experts. Wu Dangkong hated King Wu Yu and the others to the bone. These old antiques. The Wu clan was about to be annihilated, but they still weren't willing to submit to him. When this medium-grade world is refined successfully, I will be able to seize back the martial saint's paradise and control the minor kiliocosms myself. At that time, King Wu Yu and the others will all become my slaves. These short-sighted people. Wu Dangkong had already started to become ruthless. Wu Prefecture, Wu Clan. At this time, in the depths of the space-time turbulence, there was a person wearing a bronze mask and a loose robe. It was the mysterious and unfathomable Wan Senshi. At this time, there was a person standing beside Wan Senshi. This person had been enveloped by Wan Senshi's power. Clearly, he couldn't survive in the space-time turbulence. Martial Emperor, how is it? You've died many times and been reborn many times. This is the third time. Do you have any insights? Wan Senshi asked. This person was actually a martial emperor. He was reborn once more. When Gu Chansha refined the martial emperor's original body last time, he even refined the martial emperor's heart of outliers. However, Gu Chansha knew that the martial emperor definitely had a way to resurrect himself. At that time, he had been distracted by many things, so he did not have the time to remove the means left behind by the martial emperor. Moreover, Gu Qinshan knew that the martial emperor had great luck on him, and it was basically impossible to totally kill him. Lord Immortal Master Wan, if it wasn't for your supreme power, it would have been very difficult for me to revive. I've fallen into oblivion since ancient times. I didn't think that you would be able to revive me. The martial emperor was expressionless. No one knew whether he was happy or sad. You are at the Tao realm 36 transformations. He is an expert at the embodiment transformation realm and stands at the peak of the saint realm. Wan Senshi said, even if he died, a portion of his heaven heart will has merged with the heavenly Tao. As long as we can grab hold of the chance and have enough sacrificial power, we will be able to revive you. Since the Dharma saint has revived, naturally you will be able to, but your current strength is so weak that it's pitiful. You're the equivalent of someone at the 20 transformations. You won't even be able to comprehend the heart of a divergent. I have already become a divergent. Even if I die, I will still be a divergent. The martial emperor said, as long as Lord Wan Senshi assists me, I will definitely be able to become a divergent once more and complete your plan. You are indeed the most important part of my plan. Wan Senshi said, although the martial Saint Grotto Heaven suffered huge losses, is still a small world after all. You have to become the owner of this world in the end before you can obtain the chance I want. What does Lord want me to do? The martial emperor's eyes flashed. It seemed like his personality had undergone a fundamental change. Very simple. I will use supreme magic to allow your body to fuse with this martial Saint Grotto Heaven, helping you to secretly seize control of this Grotto Heaven. Wan Senshi said, you are someone acknowledged by the martial saint. Hence, when you control this martial Saint Grotto Heaven, you won't suffer any retaliation from the martial saint's will. The Dharma saint actually has his own thoughts, and that is to help Wu Dangkong obtain the entire martial Saint Grotto Heaven. After that, he will use the power of the law realm to devour it. Only then would he be able to truly transform the law realm. Wu Dangkong is both stupid and greedy. How could she be a match for the Dharma saint? The martial emperor sighed. The Wu clan will be ruined in his hands just like that. You can save the Wu clan. Immortal Master Wan said, however, it will be difficult to keep the Martial Saints Wonderland. In exchange, you will fuse with the Martial Saints Wonderland and then be sucked into it by the Warlock Saint. Then, I will join forces with the Immortal Master to attack the Warlock Saint from the outside. In this way, the Warlock Saint will not be able to take care of both ends, and I will use my supreme mysterious technique to allow you to seize all the law realms. During this process, I will awaken the Martial Saint's will and let the Martial Saints will suppress the Warlock Saint. In the end, the situation will be settled. You will obtain the combination of all the law realms and the Martial Saints Wonderland. Then, you will steal all the Warlock Saints' savings and create a medium-sized world. When the Martial Emperor heard Wan Senchi's plan, he couldn't help but sigh. My lord is indeed invincible. Such a plan is simply flawless. However, the three great heavenly venerables, the Black Heaven Earth sect, and especially the Tranquil Immortal Department, are forces that my lord must guard against. Also, the Immortal Master is definitely not a good person. I don't think she will really cooperate with my lord. These are all within my calculations. They are all little fellows. They want to fight with me in a battle of wits and courage. It's a little funny. Wan Senchi said, however, I'm a little afraid of the Great Spirit God and the Xing Qiongshi. One of them is extremely cunning, and the other is incomparably ferocious. If the Xing Qiongshi's 100 layers of the Great Divine Continent technique were to be used, I'm afraid even I would be seriously injured. That punch can be said to be the ultimate attack. Fortunately, he can't use it now. However, this time, the Dharma Saints' movements are too big. They will definitely come out to take advantage of it. If my guess is correct, the Great Spirit God has completely fused with the Sorcerer Ancestor. Unfortunately, the Sorcerer Dao's inheritance has been plundered by the Great Spirit God, just like that. The Great Spirit God is so strong. The Martial Emperor was a little surprised. Could it be that he has surpassed the Maha God? The Maha God isn't weak either. However, he is sealed after all. I'm afraid he can't compare to the Great Spirit God now. The Great Spirit God is powerful because he has probably comprehended some of the secrets of the land of infinity. That's how he managed to escape Gu Taxian's seal. Of course, this could also be intentional by Gu Taxian. He wants to keep the Great Spirit God alive so that his son can deal with him and use him as a training target, Wan Senchi said. Is Gu Taxian really that strong? Even my lord can't defeat him. The Martial Emperor asked the question that had been on his mind for a long time. Chapter 636. Your Excellency, we need to pay special attention to that boy named Gu Qinsha. He has cultivated the heavenly Daos and has endless transformations. I have been fooled by him over and over again until I fell into his trap. Not only was I unable to extricate myself, but I ended up dying. That boy is already grown up and is difficult to deal with. I hope that Your Excellency, Wan Senchi, will be careful. Martial Emperor had suffered a great loss at Gu Qinsha's hands. First, he had been deceived by Gu Qinsha. Then his desolate Dragon Gate talisman was stolen. Finally, in the Black Dragon Great Sage's Crystal Palace, his true body was captured and his heart of divergence was refined. This was the final transformation that led to the Celestial Calmness Department's dimensional realm. Don't worry, said Immortal Master Wan. Although the Heavenly Dao magic is amazing, it's still too early for that kid to make a name for himself. I have a way to lure him out, then seal his body and refine him into a magical treasure. That kid is very useful to me. Do you know why I saved you? It is because you have a deep fate with this boy and the Celestial Calmness Department. The reason the Celestial Calmness Department was able to survive the demonic calamity was all because of your desolate Dragon Gate talisman and stellar transposition, which allowed you to obtain the interstellar coffin. Then, you used your heart of divergence to stimulate the world's strength and finally cultivate a dimensional realm. It can be said that the Celestial Calmness Department is in the dark. If I gain power, the Celestial Calmness Department will die. Martial Emperor's hatred reached the heavens and earth. What he hated the most was not the three Celestials, but the Celestial Calmness Department. It is inevitable that you will gain power, and you will definitely become a celestial master. One Senshi said, "It is said that if you survive a great calamity, you are bound to have good fortune. You have encountered 2 death tribulations. The first time, you fell for thousands of years, and then you were resurrected. The second time was even more miserable. Fortunately, I saved you, and your fortune has changed. You could be said to have a flood of good fortune. From now on, you will have a smooth sailing life." "Thank you for your kind words, Your Excellency." Martial Emperor said, "I still need Your Excellency's help." "Of course." Juan Senshi spread open his palm and enveloped the martial monarch. "I will now use my own mystical art to strengthen your cultivation. At the same time, I will use my treasures to refine your body so that your cultivation can fuse with the martial saint's paradise." Streams of light burst out from Juan Senshi's body. It was like the divine light of the heavenly path entering the martial emperor's body. Immediately, the martial emperor's cultivation rose. Innate cardinal treasure. Juan Senshi brought out another magic treasure. It was a jade seal, and it exuded a thick aura of the imperial Tao and the imperial energy. This jade seal is called the Primal Emperor's Seal. It is the first Emperor's aura that was produced in the primal chaos explosion. The so-called Emperor's aura is the true essence of managing the order of all living beings. It was not easy for me to find this treasure in the depths of the primal chaos, and it is just right for you to use. After you encountered 2 death tribulations, you can use this treasure to make up for your losses. It can also wash away your past karma and vanity. What's left is a little vitality that has existed since ancient times in the depths of your heart. Crack. The innate numinous treasure, the Primal Emperor's Seal, was crushed by Juan Senshi and merged with the martial emperor's body. Then, Juan Senshi took out another innate numinous treasure in the shape of a talisman. This talisman is called the Monarch's Life Talisman. It can be said to be a pair with the Primal Emperor's Seal. The Emperor's aura will also merge with your body. The martial emperor was extremely shocked. He had seen many things. What had he not seen before? He immediately recognized that both the Primal Emperor's Seal and the Monarch's Life Talisman were supreme innate treasures that could suppress the fortune of the major sections. Each of these innate treasures was extremely rare, but in Juan Senshi's hands, they were like toys. Just how deep was Juan Senshi's foundation? Juan Senshi merged the Primal Emperor's Seal and the Monarch's Life Talisman into the martial emperor's body. Then, he took out a few more magic treasures. One of them was a small flag, and the other was a sword and saber. These 3 are the Monarch's Life Flag, the General's Life Sword, and the Human Master's Saber. They are also innate numinous treasures that represent the true essence of the Monarch, General, and Human Master respectively. With these magic treasures gathered, it will be enough to make up for your previous losses and complete the Emperor's aura. Juan Senshi poured all of them into the martial emperor's body. Then, he ejected a milky white stream of air. This stream of air was the essence of his own great Tao. With his cultivation, it surpassed the 3 heavenly venerables. It was a piece of cake for him to wholeheartedly create a person. Moreover, the martial emperor himself was someone who had comprehended a divergent and was almost able to break through to the heavenly venerable realm. Although he had met with calamities twice, his own comprehension was still there. Summon primal chaos. Reassemble dust. Immortal Master One waved his hand once more. Instantly, countless streams of primordial energy descended from the sky. With a shout from him, the primordial energy disintegrated. Some of it turned into pills, some into magical treasures, and some even turned into worlds. Then, the martial emperor's body was enveloped in these worlds. After a long time, the martial emperor suddenly let out a long roar in the dust world. Waves of world energy emerged from his body and actually fused with the dust world. He became a god again. His strength was starting to recover. Divergent heart, reassembled too. Juan Senshi poured all of his profound intent into the martial emperor's body again. This time, I put in a lot of effort to help you recover your strength. Even with my strength, it won't be easy for you to recover completely. Furthermore, you're a powerhouse to begin with. If you were an ordinary person, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. Now, all you need to do is reassemble the divergent heart, and everything will be solved. At this moment, I'll throw caution to the wind and help you again. After all, you are the most important part of my plan. Wan Senshi suddenly plucked his head off. That's right, he plucked his head out of thin air. The mask on his head was also removed. Then, he sent his head directly into the dust world and became one with the Martial Emperor. Your Excellency, you. The Martial Emperor almost jumped up. Even with his cultivation base, he couldn't help but be shocked. Crack, crack. Immortal Master Wan once again grew a new head. This head was still wearing a bronze mask. Shut up. Hurry up and cultivate. You can form the divergent heart. Wan Senshi roared. The Martial Emperor felt an inexplicable energy in his body changing with each other. He seemed to have returned to the time when the universe's primordial chaos first formed. He was a mass of primordial energy. Then, one day, there was a sudden explosion, and he was born in the Big Bang. Yes, yes, yes. The Martial Emperor almost let out a long roar in his heart. This is the feeling. I know where Wan Senshi came from. He is a creature born from the Big Bang of primordial chaos. He has no parents, or rather, his parents are the primordial chaos. The Big Bang of primordial chaos produced countless primordial spirit treasures, and at the same time, ancient creatures were born. Obviously, Wan Senshi was one of them. If not for that, Wan Senshi wouldn't have been so strong. To nurture the Martial Emperor, Wan Senshi took out all his trump cards. That was because the Martial Emperor was the most important part of him. To create the Martial Emperor like that, he was going against the heavens and going against common sense. Only an old antique like him had the ability to create the Martial Emperor. As he went all out, the Martial Emperor's body shook. His cultivation continued to climb, and he broke through layer by layer. In the end, he reached the Truth Saint Heart realm before stopping. This meant that the Martial Emperor had entered the Saint realm. His Truth Saint Heart had become the Divergent Heart. The Divergent Heart that Gut Chunsha snatched formed once more. This was a new change after absorbing Wan Senshi's head. His current cultivation, strength, and realm were even more powerful than when he had been refined by Gut Chunsha. He had recovered all of his strength and had improved even further. This was all due to Wan Senshi's nurturing. Without Wan Senshi, he probably wouldn't have been able to recover his current strength even after 1,000 years. Good, you have fully recovered. Wan Senshi retracted his strength, quickly change. Follow my plan and enter the Martial Saint Grotto Heaven to take back control. Yes, the Martial Emperor's body changed. It shook and exploded before turning into a streak of light. Immortal Master Wan nodded and said, "That's right. This is the origin refining realm art that I taught you. It allows you to silently enter a world and attach yourself to it before starting to refine it. In addition, you already have control over it, so refining the Martial Saint's Paradise is even easier. If I personally do it, I can refine this world, but the Dharma Saint will notice and I will be exposed." The Martial Emperor's light seeped into the Martial Saint Grotto Heaven and disappeared. There were no ripples at all. Wung, just at that moment, Gu Chinch's body shook. He sensed something. My Martial Saint Grotto Heaven. Gu Chunsha had left a clone in the Martial Saint Grotto Heaven, which was Wudong Xian. However, he suddenly felt that something was wrong. His clone was left in Wudong Xian's body. He had used the heavenly law to gradually seep into the Martial Saint Grotto Heaven and take over the Martial Emperor's control, which meant that he had 1/3 of the Martial Saint Grotto Heaven's power. However, he suddenly felt that he couldn't activate the Martial Saint Grotto Heaven anymore. Could the Martial Emperor have revived? This was the first thought that came to Gu Chinch's mind. He was currently imitating the Martial Emperor's aura. If the real Martial Emperor revived, it would clash. However, he smiled in his heart. As expected, the method I left behind is working. I didn't get rid of the Martial Emperor's remnant because I was waiting for him to revive. Otherwise, Why would I keep harvesting his leeks? Chapter 637. In the end, the warlord has been resurrected. If my guess is correct, it was Wan Senshi who helped him recover. Otherwise, given the extent of his death, not even the old antiques would be able to do anything. Only an unfathomable existence like Wan Senshi could bring him back to life so quickly. Wan Senshi's overall strength is far above our commerce department. If he wanted to, he could wipe us out. But he's also afraid of Father's power. The lesson from the lightning essence and lightning blood was still fresh in his mind. That's why Wan Senshi has been plotting a few things. He's set up his pawns and is constantly testing the limits of his power. Furthermore, he'll activate the great ritual of salvation in an attempt to devour Father. It's a marvelous plan, and it has the ability to unite all living beings. Unfortunately, he has two problems he can't solve. First, he can't scheme against my heavenly Tao arts. Second, he's afraid of Father. With these two factors, he won't be able to do as he pleases. Guchinch's intelligence was nothing to be scoffed at. He wasn't the slightest bit afraid of Wan Senshi in a battle of wits and courage. I can sense that Wan Senshi is actually cultivating a warlord. I also know that he's set up pawns everywhere. For example, Jing Fanxing, who I crippled, seems to have received his help and recovered his strength. Since that's the case, I'll harvest him again. Gu Qinshan knew that Wan Senshi's plans were no trivial matter, but he also had a plan to create a diversion. Right now, his true body was with Dou Yu, Ling Xiaofei, and the others, but his heavenly Tao arts were enough to confuse them. Even the Dharma Saint had been confused. Dou Yu was unfathomable, but there was no way he could see through Gu Chencha's heavenly Tao transformations. Whoosh! Gu Chensha left behind the unfettered emptiness body and fled with his true body. He was going to harvest Jing Fanxing, the small leek, and then the big leek, the warlord. At the same time, Jing Fanxing was Wan Senshi's chess piece. Thus, when Gu Chensha dealt with this chess piece, it meant that he had officially started fighting with Wan Senshi. Up until now, in the confrontation between Wan Senshi and Jingxian Si, Wan Senshi had gained the upper hand and captured Yuan Lu. It was still tied to the Golden Watch. Up until now, Gu Chensha still hadn't been able to rescue Yuan Lu. In this way, it would be a huge blow to the reputation of the Calm Immortal Department. At the same time, in the profound Immortal Tao sect, Wan Senshi's prestige skyrocketed. Moreover, Wan Senshi could casually capture a god of destruction. Even the fifth-ranked god under the three heavenly sovereigns was afraid of it. This caused all the cultivators to realize that following Wan Senshi was the right choice. In short, Wan Senshi was slowly laying out his plans, accumulating prestige and influence. At the most critical moment, there would be a sudden explosion that would cause great damage to the Calm Immortal Department. Gu Qinsha was also very good at laying out plans. He would definitely not allow such a thing to happen. Thus, he wanted to destroy each chess piece one by one, destroying Wan Senshi's plans. Of course, Warlord's plan was a trap. Gu Qinsha didn't touch him for now. Instead, he wanted to find Jing Fanxing and slowly probe him. Perhaps this time, he could use Jing Fanxing to confront Wan Senshi. Moreover, now that the Dharma Saint could ascend at any time, Wan Senshi would definitely make all sorts of arrangements. This was the perfect time to destroy Wan Senshi's chess pieces. As expected, Dou Yu didn't know that Gu Chencha's true body had left. He was still chatting cheerfully with Ling Xiaofei. In the blink of an eye, Gu Chensha borrowed the power of the dimensional realm to arrive at the Holy Sama Empire in the depths of the desert. Then, he didn't act rashly. Instead, he began to observe. Gu Qinsha observed for a long time, but he didn't see any movement from Jing Fanxing. He couldn't help but feel puzzled. Wan Senshi must have used some secret technique or given Jing Fanxing some magical treasure to prevent him from being discovered by experts. But the Holy Sama Empire's fortune has skyrocketed recently, and its population has increased. There have been many changes. This is definitely a fundamental change. He wanted to find Jing Fanxing, but now he couldn't find him. He couldn't even calculate where he was. This was a rather difficult problem. Logically speaking, Jing Fanxing should be overseeing the Holy Sama Empire and running the empire's affairs. Humph! Wan Xinshi, if I'm helpless against such a small scheme, then there's no need for me to continue living. I might as well stretch out my neck and let you slaughter me. Gu Qinsha pondered for a moment. Looking at the Holy Sama Empire's rolling fortune, his body suddenly disintegrated, turning into many clouds and cool winds. They fused with heaven and earth and blew across the entire empire's continent. The desert wind was mighty to begin with. Sometimes it was fierce, sometimes it was gentle, and sometimes it was scorching and dry. Gu Qinsha now had the cultivation of the 25th transformation of the Tao realm, the undying body. When he turned into the desert wind, no one could tell whether it was real or fake, because he himself was the wind. The wind was mighty, blowing across the entire empire. In the blink of an eye, all the information about the empire had been absorbed into Gu Qinsha's sea of consciousness. Gu Qinsha withdrew his body and returned to his true body. Then, he changed again and again, turning into a ball of light. According to the information he had just obtained, he completely appeared in the light. The cause of all living beings, the effect of one's own actions. A voice came from the ball of light that Gu Qinsha had transformed into. Jing Fanxing, no matter how well you hide, governing the entire empire and obtaining the worship of all living beings is equivalent to being involved in karma with all living beings. You will never be able to escape. I will use all living beings as the foundation and follow the vine to the melon. I will be able to find you. This is my own comprehension. Even Wan Xinshi would not be able to guess that I have already cultivated to this level. Gu Qinsha was activating the power of the 24 transformations, peek into the future. As he continued to change, he had already turned into a mirror. In the mirror, the Holy Sama Empire appeared. Then a huge amount of fortune and the karma of all living beings entangled in the void and pointed to two people. One was Jing Xiao, the true founder of the empire, and the other was Jing Fanxing, the current ruler of the empire. As for the original emperor of the Holy Sama Empire, he had now been completely overthrown by the Jing family. With Jing Xiao's support, the nobles of the empire could only resign themselves to their fate. As Gu Qinsha did his best to calculate, Jing Xiao had already appeared. He was actually in the realm of all things. Meanwhile, Jing Fanxing was wandering around the old capital of the divine central continent, as if he had already encountered some sort of fortuitous encounter. Bow of liberation, arrow of permanence and impermanence. At this moment, Gu Qinsha activated the treasure. The greatest realm of this treasure was not its destructive power, but its ability to free oneself and then allow one to understand the permanence and impermanence. After seizing this treasure from the hands of the Fan family, Gu Qinsha had constantly studied it. When put together, this treasure was the character for Buddha. The Supreme Buddha had comprehended the mysteries of Buddha from this bow and arrow. Now, Gu Qinsha himself possessed a great deal of knowledge and had also obtained the power of the heavenly Tao. Compared to the Supreme Buddha of the past, he had an even greater advantage. He used this bow and arrow to carry out a series of plans. Man and treasure as one. At this time, Gu Qinsha poured all of the power of his dimensional realm into the treasure. He and the treasure became one, and a great deal of information was transmitted into the depths of his mind. He transformed into the character for Buddha. One man, one bow, two arrows. This was Buddha. When combined, it contained supreme mysteries. Gu Qinsha's spiritual sense skyrocketed, and he was on the verge of perceiving the secrets of the Buddhist sects. The reason he wanted to refine these two arrows and this bow was because he feared that he would have many dealings with the Buddhist sects in the future. As soon as the character for Buddha appeared, a lifeless and indestructible aura spread out. However, it was impossible for Gu Qinsha to completely refine this treasure. The power of this treasure was far greater than what it seemed on the surface. The more Gu Qinsha studied it, the more profound it seemed. In the hands of the Fan family, this treasure hadn't been able to display its full power. As soon as it transformed into the character for Buddha, Gu Chincha's body vanished. He had truly broken free from karma, completely freed. This was one of Gu Chincha's killing moves. In the next moment, he arrived in the divine continent. In the old capital city, the character for Buddha immediately locked onto Jing Fanqing. At this time, Jing Fanqing had also changed. He had become a scholar, as if he were traveling the world. He lived in a Taoist temple on South Mountain, just outside the old capital city. South Mountain used to be a hunting ground for the royal family. In the past, Gu Chansha had followed the heavenly talisman Great Emperor here to hunt. Now, South Mountain had been developed into a tourist destination. Many rich and powerful people bought real estate and built manors. Some cultivators also bought land to build Taoist temples and lived here in the hopes of finding some fortuitous encounters. The Taoist temple that Jing Fanqing lived in was a secret agent left behind by Wu Dangkong. The temple wasn't large and was located in a valley on South Mountain. It had red walls and glazed tiles, and it gave off a sense of wealth and honor. The life-and-death disillusionment technique is really mysterious. I'm going to break through very soon after I cultivate this technique. Jing Fanqing was cultivating in the Taoist temple. This technique is much more mysterious than the various secret techniques of the Black Heaven Earth sect. However, although I've been nurtured by the sect leader, he's only using me. He hasn't taught me the most brilliant secret techniques. Moreover, even the founder of the Black Heaven Earth sect, the patriarch of heaven and earth, is probably not as good as this Wan Senshi. The teachings I received from Wan Senshi are really amazing. As Jing Fanqing breathed in and out, he emitted the aura of a born sage. It was the holy dragon pill that Wan Senshi had given him to help him refine the medicinal power. Then he opened his mouth and spat out. A picture appeared in a gust of essence chi. This was the precious treasure that Wan Senshi had given him, the Tao-seeking painting. Within it was a minor world tree, and Jing Fanqing was currently trying to decipher its secrets. This minor world tree can actually steal one's destiny. It's what Wan Senshi discovered after observing the heaven-offering talisman and the primordial tree. If I can fully understand it, I can steal the destiny of others and make my own destiny skyrocket. My future will be bright, and I'll get whatever I want. Jing Fanqing continued to study. I'll find a time to distribute these leaves. Chapter 638. Jing Fanqing's hatred for Gu Chansha did not diminish with the passage of time. Instead, it became more and more profound. Right now, he wanted to obtain a fortuitous encounter and increase his strength once again. He wanted to raise himself to the god level, or even the saint level, or even stronger. Only then could he have a chance at revenge. Wan Senshi's suggestion was for his true body to stand guard over the holy Sama Empire and handle various affairs, painstakingly managing them. Meanwhile, his clone would travel to the divine central continent and obtain a fortuitous encounter. However, he felt that this would be too inefficient. His clone would be weak, and his luck would be low as well. The fortuitous encounters obtained by his clone would be far less than if he had come with his true body. This was because most of the luck would be with his true body. Moreover, his clone would be weak. What would he do if he encountered a treasure and someone tried to snatch it? His clone was no match for him. Thus, after much consideration, Jing Fanqing decided to come with his true body. In truth, he had his reasons for not listening to Wan Senshi. He knew that Wan Senshi treated him like a puppet. If things went wrong in the future, he might also be devoured by Wan Senshi. Thus, he had come to the divine central continent, hoping to obtain a decent fortuitous encounter and then break free from Wan Senshi's control. On his way to the divine central continent, he had indeed obtained a few decent treasures thanks to his luck. However, none of these treasures were particularly powerful and could allow him to ascend to the heavens in a single step. Thus, he still had to wait. I must quickly cultivate to the god level. Jing Fanqing looked at the changes in the mountains outside. The old capital should be the place with the most fortuitous encounters. As long as it explodes, I will definitely be able to obtain a supreme treasure. When that time comes, there will be hope for me to kill Gu Chensha. Jing Fanqing, do you really want to kill me so badly? At this moment, a mocking voice rang out. Who is it? Jing Fanqing was shocked. He jerked his head around and saw a person sitting on a chair in his room. It was Gu Chensha. He immediately came to his senses and flew up, intending to flee. He knew that even if he received Wan Senchi's guidance and recovered his cultivation, he would still be no match for Gu Chensha. Even Wan Senchi himself could not destroy the Tranquil Fairy Department, much less him. However, he crashed into a patch of fog and bounced back, falling into the Taoist temple. It's useless. Gu Chensha laughed. Jing Fanqing, I didn't expect you to recover your strength and advance further. You even obtained a treasure bestowed by Wan Senchi. It seems like the world will be thrown into chaos. Gu Chensha, Jing Fanqing howled like a wounded wolf as he pounced forward. However, when Gu Chensha moved his palm, there was an invisible force that pushed Jing Fanqing back repeatedly. The two of them were indeed not on the same level. Jing Fanqing, don't waste your energy. Even if Wan Senchi were to personally come, it wouldn't be easy for him to deal with me. You're also an experienced and knowledgeable person. Don't tell me you don't even know the power of a dimensional realm? Gu Chensha did not immediately attack Jing Fanqing. He still wanted to probe and observe to see what exactly Wan Senchi had up his sleeve. Gu Chensha, what are you trying to do? The person behind me, Wan Senchi, is not someone to be trifled with. Jing Fanqing was trying his best to think of a way to escape. If you don't want Calmness Immortal Department to suffer a devastating blow, you better not attack me. Wan Senchi has declared an all-out war against my Calmness Immortal Department, and we have to do our best to wipe out the alliance of 10,000 immortals. Gu Chensha stared at Jing Fanqing carefully and held out his palm. Give it to me. What? Jing Fanqing was taken aback. The magical treasure given to you by Wan Senchi. Gu Chensha pointed to the map and asked, there seems to be something similar to my Tree of Desire in this map, and it's even more brilliant. I wonder what it is. Wan Senchi gave it to you, but you can't do anything with it. So give it to me. Gu Chensha, don't go too far. Jing Fanqing's heart shrank into a ball. Before he met Gu Chensha, he had a monstrous hatred for him. But now that he had met him, he just wanted to run away immediately and never meet him again. Gu Chensha's aura was so powerful that it pierced through the sky and the earth. Wave after wave, it made him feel extremely oppressed and gave him a feeling that he could not defeat him. If you don't want me to get your treasure, I cannot deal with you. After all, since I crippled you last time, you have been in the Holy Samar Empire and have not harmed the Divine Land or the Imperial Court. Although you hate me very much and always want revenge, which is definitely a hidden danger to the Imperial Court, you have not done any evil. I don't want to cripple you like I did last time. Gu Chensha said, but if you join my Divine Land and pray all the time, I can spare your life. What do you think? I have Wan Senchi's protection, said Jing Fanqing. Gu Chensha, you can't do anything to me. Jing Fanqing was still trying to think of a way to escape. Wan Senchi is just using you as a pawn, said Gu Chensha. Jing Fanqing, don't you understand? The Calming Immortal Department is sincere in serving the world. We don't care about hypocrisy, and we don't plot against our own people. We don't covet our own treasures. Actually, the hatred between you and the Calming Immortal Department isn't that big. It's all because of Wu Dankong. You can see that Wu Dankong is a piece of trash. He's stupid and greedy, and he cherishes his body for the sake of great things. He forgets his own life for the sake of small gains. If you hang around with him, you'll die sooner or later. Why don't you join me? You can definitely achieve great things. I will help you increase your cultivation level immediately. I don't believe you, said Jing Fanqing, trying to buy time. His tone was much more relaxed. You can help me break through? How? Bow of liberation, arrows of permanence and impermanence. A bow appeared in Gu Chensha's hand, along with 2 arrows. Smiling, he said, this bow and arrow was originally a precious treasure of the Fan clan. However, It requires the ultimate secret legacy of a Buddha in order to unleash its true power. The Fan Clan can't even use it. However, in my hands, it's even more profound and mysterious than in the hands of a Buddha. That's because I've cultivated a heaven-down magic. From ancient times until now, no one has ever been able to cultivate a magic like that. Not even one senshi. By baptizing this bow and arrow with a heaven-down magic, not only will it be able to unleash its full power, but it will also grow. Who knows what it'll eventually evolve into? Now that I've activated the heaven-down magic and poured it into it, I'll be able to use its supreme power to help you gain enlightenment. Isn't that only natural? This bow and arrow, a hint of greed, appeared in Jing Fanqing's eyes. He knew the power of this bow and arrow. This treasure was different from other Khanate spiritual treasures. It was the most special and powerful one. Hearing that it could grow under the nourishment of the heaven-down magic, he had some ideas. Then how about you use this bow and arrow to help me increase my cultivation level first? If you're that sincere, we can forget all our past grievances, and I'll join the calming immortal department. I can see that you're very generous, so I'm sure you'll do that. No problem at all. Gu Chunsha suddenly drew the bow, drew an arrow, and aimed it at Jing Fanqing. What are you doing? Jing Fanqing looked like a frightened quail. It's fine. This arrow isn't going to kill you. It's going to help you free yourself. However, I need your cooperation. Gu Chunsha said, have you seen the true meaning of liberation on this sword? I'll let you comprehend the true meaning of Buddhism. As long as your heart doesn't resist, you'll be able to gain enlightenment. Gu Chunsha had said so much to Jing Fanqing so that his heart wouldn't resist. Then, he would use the bow of liberation and the permanence and impermanence arrows to kill his way into Jing Fanqing's heart and convert him. That way, he could avoid some of Wan Senshi's tricks. After all, Wan Senshi hadn't completely controlled Jing Fanqing's heart, and he hadn't brainwashed him yet. If Jing Fanqing joined the calming immortal department on his own, that would mean that Wan Senshi's plan had completely failed. Wan Senshi would have failed in a battle of hearts. As such, the current situation was that it didn't matter whether Jing Fanqing was killed or not. The most important thing was to fight with Wan Senshi. Moreover, even if Gu Chunsha attacked Jing Fanqing now, he might not be able to kill him. Wan Senshi would definitely sense something major and set up a secret technique. He wouldn't let his pawn die just like that. But if Jing Fanqing changed his mind, things would be different. The bow of liberation, the permanence and impermanence arrows, and you are Buddha. It just so happens that I have connections with the Buddhist sect and know some of their wondrous techniques. I can activate them and draw on the power of the Permitha, Golden Mountain. In addition to the power of my dimensional realm, not only can you break free of the shackles that Wan Senshi has placed on you, but you can also swallow up Wan Senshi's achievements. I came here this time to train you, not to kill you. That will depend on how you see it. As they say, riches and honor come from danger. Gu Chunsha seemed to have grasped Jing Fanqing's heart. Look, the people of the calming immortal department are all independent and free. I haven't schemed against them or bound them. If you join forces with an old antique like Wan Senshi, you will only be eaten. The world is in full swing. If you stand on the wrong side, you will be consigned to eternal damnation. Think carefully. I'll give you a chance now. If you can grasp it, there won't be any problems. That's fine. Jing Fanqing wanted to buy time, but he also thought to himself, if this person wants to kill me, it won't be easy. So, he wants to change my side. I'll give it a try and see if I can get any benefits from him. The bow of liberation and the permanence and impermanence arrows really do have the power of enlightenment. What do you think? Do you want to take this gamble? Gu Chunsha looked at Jing Fanqing. He could see through Jing Fanqing's mind. Fine. Jing Fanqing's eyes became sharp. In this day and age, riches and honor come from danger. Whoosh! Gu Chunsha suddenly used the heavenly Tao magic, pouring it all into the bow of liberation and the permanence and impermanence arrows. Then, the two arrows shot out in unison, arriving in front of Jing Fanqing in an instant. Jing Fanqing opened his body, not resisting, allowing the two arrows to pierce into the depths of his soul. Buzz Jing Fanqing's body started to vibrate like a bell. Buddhist, musical notes, and the power of liberation were all stimulated in his body. Chapter 639. This power had been left behind by Wan Xinqi to prevent Jing Fanqing from being killed or used by others. In the end, Gu Qinsha and Immortal Master Wan clashed. Buddha's suppression, Permitha, Golden Mountain. At this time, Gu Qinsha galvanized the power of his dimensional realm and linked up with the endless space and time. Through the Buddha statue of the Human Dragon Association, the release bow, and the constant and impermanence arrows, he was able to sense the Permitha Golden Mountain in the depths of space and time. The Permitha Golden Mountain was the headquarters of the Buddhist sect. Even though the Buddha was dead, there were definitely many big shots of the Buddhist sect still there. The Buddhist sect arrangements were still very powerful and deep. This time, Gu Qinsha wanted to use the Buddhist sect to deal with Wan Xinqi again. His will spread out. Big shots of the ancient Buddhist sect. I have found a good believer for you. It is Jing Fanqing. Not only does he have faith, but he also has the potential to become a saint. He also controls the huge Holy Sama Empire. If you really convert him, you can spread the faith of the Buddhist sect in the desert, and the Buddhist sect can return to the world. This is a very profitable thing. Practice with me and suppress Wan Xinqi. I believe that with the power of the Buddhist sect working together with me, we can definitely destroy the chess piece that is Wan Xinqi. Gu Qinsha was negotiating with the Buddhist sect. Jing Fanqing was an important person to the Buddhist sect. If the Buddhist sect could obtain him, they could immediately make the Holy Sama Empire believe in the Buddhist sect. In the blink of an eye, it would become a Buddhist kingdom, and they would receive a large amount of faith power. That way, the development of the Buddhist sect would be equivalent to establishing a foundation in the land of infinity. More importantly, Jing Fanqing was a natural saint. Gu Qinsha did not want to use his own power to deal with Wan Xinqi, so he had to use the Buddhist sect. More importantly, the release bow and the constant and impermanence arrows were the ultimate treasures of the Buddhist sect. They were the origin of the Buddhist sect, and the power of the Buddhist sect could be used as a medium to unleash the greatest effect. As expected, after obtaining Gu Qinsha's will, the Buddhist sect was inexplicably moved. A golden light pierced through the endless world and the void, descending on the release bow and the constant and impermanence arrows. It turned into a huge Buddhist light that actually suppressed the power that Wan Xinqi had exploded out. The Buddhist sect clearly wanted to obtain Jing Fanqing and make him their believer. The Buddhist sect clearly wanted to obtain Jing Fanqing and make him their believer. He believed that the Buddhist sect would definitely not be able to resist this temptation. Jing Fanqing had already been promoted to have the potential of a saint. The Buddhist sect needed such a talent, and Jing Xiu had set up in the desert of the Holy Sama Empire for many years. It was far away from the Middle Earth, and it was just the right place to develop the country and civilization of the Buddhist sect. What Gu Qinsha needed was to destroy Immortal Master Wan's chess piece. No matter how strong Wan Xinqi was, if he wanted to deal with the mysterious Buddhist sect and the medium-class world that Gu Qinsha had activated, it would not be easy. Perhaps Wan Xinqi had more power, but it was not worth it to fight the Buddhist sect and the Department of Tranquility over a small chess piece like Jing Fanqing. Moreover, Wan Xinqi's main focus was probably on scheming against the Dharma saint. Gu Qinsha seized this opportunity to catch Wan Xinqi off guard. This was where Gu Qinsha's brilliance came from. As the saying went, he could drive the tiger to devour the wolf. He used all kinds of strategies to perfection. Absorb, devour. Just as the Buddhist sect's power suppressed Wan Xinqi's, Gu Qinsha had already targeted the Tao-seeking painting on Jing Fanqing. He activated the power of the medium-class world and swept it through the air. The Tao-seeking painting was wrapped up by his power and sent into the medium-class world. Then, the vast power of the medium-class world rushed into the Tao-seeking painting. In an instant, Gu Chunsha understood one of the supreme mysteries of the painting. This painting was not a connate numinous treasure, but one that Wan Xinchi had refined himself. The most valuable part was the world tree. The world tree was an imitation of the primordial tree, and Wan Xinchi's understanding of the primordial tree had been integrated into it. This kind of knowledge was even more nourishing to Gu Qinsha. So that's how it is. That's how it is. In an instant, Gu Qinsha had already obtained the refinement method of the world tree in Wan Xinchi's philosophy. So this is how Wan Xinchi views the primordial tree. He is observing it from a completely different angle. This person is truly an invincible existence. His understanding is so profound that it makes my understanding of the wish tree completely different. Absorb, transform. He laughed heartily. The wish tree absorbed the world tree and the Tao-seeking painting. Gu Qinsha quickly calculated in his heart. Change. He started to transform his own strength once more. 10,000 destruction. After the wish tree absorbed the Tao-seeking painting and the world tree, it changed once more. Wish tree, turn into the world tree. Gu Dusha roared out loud. The tree expanded once more, and the god of wishes above it evolved again and again. Waves of strength spread into the dimensional realm, causing many materials and spatial faults to appear within the dimensional realm. Not only were the changes more abundant, but the strength within was also purified by a great deal. Kill. As the dimensional realm's tree of hope transformed into a true world tree, Gu Qinsha's cultivation rapidly changed and rose again and again. The Tao he perceived was simply incomparable to before. Immediately, he comprehended the 26 transformations of the Tao realm. 10,000 techniques returned to one. All of the cultivation techniques, principles, and various other comprehensions were gathered together, seemingly turning into a single one, the one true self. Under the powerful pressure of the medium-class world, the 10,000 destruction rod shattered. It fused into Gu Qinsha's body and became one with him. At this moment, because of the wish tree's transformation, the dimensional world turned into the world tree. Its essence energy was stable and it revolved nimbly. It provided Gu Qinsha with a huge amount of power, let alone the 10,000 destruction rod. Even if the god of strength came, he would be turned to dust. Inject. At this moment, his cultivation level had increased, and he had obtained what he wanted. He activated the medium-class world and injected it into the release bow and the constant and impermanence arrows. Immediately, the bow and arrow shone brightly. It combined with the power of the Buddhist sect and suppressed Wan Xinchi's power. Then, Gu Qinsha swept and absorbed Wan Xinchi's power into the medium-class world. At this moment, a Buddhist light shone from Jing Fanqing's body. It was as if he had truly comprehended the mysteries of the Buddhist sect and had become a member of the Buddhist sect. Not bad, not bad. Gu Qinsha knew that he had to leave Jing Fanqing to the Buddhist sect. This was also part of his plan with the Buddhist sect. It was impossible not to give Jing Fanqing some benefits. Now, the Buddhist sect could rely on Jing Fanqing's management to turn the holy Samar Empire into a Buddhist kingdom. As for Jing Xiu, no matter how strong he was not strong enough to compete with a colossus like the Buddhist sect. Naturally, Jing Fanqing would take all the fruits of his labor. With the Buddhist sect supporting Jing Fanqing, what would he be able to do in the desert? Gu Qinsha was looking forward to it. Rumble. Gu Qinsha put away the release bow and the constant and impermanence arrows. He found that he still could not refine them. With the input of the Buddhist sect, the bow and arrow seemed to have recovered its strength. Moreover, there was still a great deal of room for growth. He put it back into his body, and, with a move of his body, he left. Jing Fanqing's matter was left to the Buddhist sect to handle. Immortal Master, one had probably sensed the situation, and who knew what countermeasures he would come up with. At this moment, in the common people's wish sphere, Chang Weiyang, Tai Xuandu, Ji Qingwu, Wenhong, and Zhuge Yu were all within it. They sat under the Tree of Wishes and watched as the huge Tree of Wishes began to change. Majestic wills seeped into it. The Tree of Wishes devoured the path-seeking picture, and the small world tree within was refined. Then, The tree of wishes turned into a true world tree. Then, another ball of energy flew in. That was the energy that Wan Xinchi had left in Jing Fanqing's body. It was wrapped up and seemed unwilling to give up. Instead, it wanted to corrode and refine the world tree and the medium dimension. Let's work together and suppress Wan Xinchi. From this ball of energy, we can obtain many secrets and information about Wan Xinchi. Zhuge's eyes flashed. The few magnates immediately started their cultivation. Wan Xinchi wanted to use this ball of energy to plunder a medium dimension. That was wishful thinking. Far away, in the turbulence of time and space, Wan Xinchi and the immortal master were sitting. Between them, a storm was brewing. This storm was to be used against the Dharma saint. Suddenly, Wan Xinchi opened his eyes. What? Was the pawn you laid out destroyed by that brat, Gu Chansha? The immortal master calculated, and everything was within his grasp. He could not help but nod. His eyes were filled with surprise. Good move, good move. He actually joined forces with the Buddhist sect to reap the benefits. Your pawn was even stolen by the Buddhist sect. Your Tao, seeking diagram, and the essence of the minor world tree were all refined by him. He became familiar with your cultivation base and techniques, and even strengthened his dimensional realm. In this exchange of blows, you've lost just a little bit. That's not necessarily true. Wan Xinchi's tone was very calm. These little fellows are very greedy. They actually want to absorb my energy. This is the condensation of my own essence. If they absorb it, it is tantamount to leaving behind a hidden danger. In the future, sooner or later, I will take their medium dimension. This is all within my calculations. Chapter 640. Wen Hong. Immortal Master Wan frowned. If it weren't for the distortion of the heavenly Tao and the great change, he would be the master of the divine central continent, the son of destiny, and wield great power. He wouldn't just be an ancient son of heaven. He might even be the founder of the future era, enjoying the immortal throne. Unfortunately, the heavenly Tao changed, and he was reduced to an ordinary saint. Now that the divine prefecture has erupted, his fortune is rising steadily, and we can't ignore him. Unfortunately, he's extremely cunning, and we can't catch him. Don't even think about capturing him. He has become a saint after all, and he is working with the calming immortal department. With the protection of the dimensional realm, it will be difficult to deal with him. The immortal master said, wait until he cultivates a minor kiliocosm. Then he will have some capital to escape. Right now, if the Tai mystical sect, the heavenly dance mystical sect, the universe mystical sect Wen Hong, the minor divine continent, and the world's wish sphere are all mixed together, and with that huge tree as their foundation, they will multiply endlessly. Then, even if we join forces, we will not be able to break through. The immortal master said, this way, even if those little fellows truly stabilize their foundation, as their cultivation increases, if all of them become God level, or even saint level, then it will be very difficult to deal with them. They have 16 saints now, the azure dragon, the white tiger, the vermilion bird, and the black tortoise. If all of them become saints and activate the dimensional realm, then they will be on equal footing with us. That's right, Wan Xinchi said. Actually, if you and I join forces, we can completely annihilate these little fellows. Unfortunately, you are unwilling to do so. We have too many people tied down. Putting aside whether that person of mine will allow us to do so, even the powerful existences like the three heavenly venerables are eyeing us covetously. As long as we are tied down by the dimensional realm, they will make their move. Moreover, the Buddhist sect seems to be biased towards the calming immortal department. The immortal master said, if the Buddhist sect and the calming immortal department join forces, then we have no chance of winning. Indeed, the Buddhist sect has accumulated a lot. Although that Supreme Buddha is my junior, he is not as strong as I am. It will not be easy for me to completely suppress and kill him. Wan Xinchi said he announced to the public that he had died, but he hasn't. It seems that I can only hold a world salvation ritual and let the heavenly Tao devour Gu Taxian. Then, I can carry out a series of plans. Then, no one will be my match. You of the heaven, The immortal heaven said, "Immortal master." The immortal master said, "We are all living beings born from the Big Bang of primal chaos. We have witnessed the birth and destruction of many civilizations. We are almost indestructible and have reached the realm where we can live as long as heaven and earth. However, heaven and earth will eventually collapse and return to primal chaos. When we arrive, we goo. Tao of Tao God Ji Wood, God of. Of course, I think you want to as well." Wan Senshi said, "The world will return to primal chaos, and everything will return to nothingness. It's impossible for us to resist such a Tao of life and death. Not to mention us, the Hong Meng tree, the heaven-offering talisman, the boundless universe. Everything will have to return to the furnace. Are you willing to accept this?" Naturally, we are unwilling. Hence, we are doing our best to struggle. The three celestial venerables are also struggling. The immortal masters said, "It all depends on whether there is any hope in the end. I think there's a good chance." Wan Senshi said, "After all, a situation that even the heavenly Tao is unable to control has occurred. The heavenly Tao itself is the will of chaos, life, and death, the highest authority of all. If we can obtain a slim chance of survival from within, we can also hope for a primal chaos to still exist. You have your plans, and I have mine. However, these are still too early for us," the immortal master said. "The most important thing now is to solve the problem of the Dharma Saint first. After the problem of the Dharma Saint is solved, I'll personally play with those fellows from the Celestial Tranquility Bureau." Wan Senshi's interest was suddenly piqued. To think that they actually took advantage of the fact that I was too busy to deal with them and took over the chess piece that was Jing Fanqing. This is something that has never happened in the past several tens of thousands of years. "Be careful not to fail miserably at such an easy task," the immortal master said with a smile. "A small surprise makes it all the more interesting." Wan Senshi said, "Let's not fuss over these things for now. When do you think the Dharma Saint will be able to cultivate a medium-class world?" "It should be soon," the immortal master said. "He has already helped Wu Dankong comprehend the wonders of the heavenly sacrificial talisman. Using this talisman, he can borrow the power of the heavens and repay it in the future. It will be enough to make up for all losses." The 13 deity level experts of the School of Legalism are in the Sun-Moon Sacrificial Altar, which is equivalent to 130 deities. Such a huge amount of power should be more than enough to push the advancement of the medium-class world. If my guess is correct, the Dharma Saint will need another 3 months to completely transform. Of course, he might still have some tricks and allies hidden up his sleeves. He won't be defeated so easily. Although our cultivation levels are high, it will be very troublesome to kill a celestial venerable. When did the celestial venerable become one in your words? Wan Senshi said, "However, a celestial venerable that hasn't become a medium-class world isn't that much of a threat. If he becomes a medium-class world, he will have the ability to fight us to the death. The celestial venerable realm is 1 level lower than us. It is outside the 3 realms and not within the 5 elements. According to our classification, it is celestial venerable, celestial longevity, and celestial origin. We are all in the celestial longevity realm. The so-called celestial longevity realm means that we live as long as the heavens. We are already at the peak. You haven't seen a creature in the celestial origin realm, right?" Wan Senshi said, "A creature in the celestial origin realm is equivalent to a mighty force on par with the boundless universe. I have indeed never seen one before. If we include magic treasures, the heavenly sacrificial talisman, the desolate dragon gate, and the grand mist tree, it should be the celestial origin realm," Wan Senshi said. "Then do those 3 little fellows, Yuan Gu, Do Sheng, and Pu Tuo, have any hope of reaching the celestial longevity realm?" The immortal master asked. "Those 3 little fellows are extremely cunning. It's very likely that they have already ascended to our realm. They're just biding their time. Although I said that the 3 of them are nothing to worry about, the truth is that the 3 of them are already peerless enemies." Wan Senshi was very clear in his heart. However, even if the three of them ascended to the celestial longevity realm, their accumulation would still be far inferior to ours. They are beings born after the heavens, while we are beings born from the primal chaos explosion. In terms of innate strength, there will be a gap. Right now, they are coveting some of the treasures of the grand mist tree in order to make up for their innate weakness and stand on par with us, the immortal master said. Those three little fellows have been restless ever since the primordial era, and they've slowly grown to such colossal realms, once Senshi said. It looks like after we deal with the Dharma Saint, we'll have to deal with them as well. If we don't deal with those three little fellows, I'm afraid that my great sacrificial rite of salvation will inevitably fail in the end. That's inevitable, the immortal master said. The immortal master said, it just so happens that it will take a few months for our power to be completely fused together. So, we'll give the Dharma Saint 3 months. Both of them were cultivating with each other, drawing out the power of their own dimensional worlds to forge a one-time attack. Both of them were ancient creatures born from the primal chaos explosion. Now that they were working together, their offensive power could be raised to a frightening level. Days passed by. Ever since the day Wan Senshi declared war against the Calming Immortal Department, many people from the Alliance of Myriad Immortals wanted to capture the people of the Calming Immortal Department. However, in the first month, all those who harbored evil intentions were captured by the department. Moreover, the department directly declared that the Alliance of Myriad Immortals was an illegal organization, and that any member of the Alliance of Myriad Immortals who entered the Divine Central Continent or the Wildlands would be killed immediately upon sight. As long as the original members of the Alliance of Myriad Immortals withdrew from the Alliance and confessed their crimes, they would be leniently dealt with, and would also be rewarded handsomely. They would be sent to the Divine Central Continent to cultivate and be taught the dragon cultivation technique. In a short period of time, many members of the Alliance of Myriad Immortals also began to rebel. Gu Chunsha had advanced to the 26th transformation of the Tao realm. All techniques returned to one. The 360 marshals of the common people who were suppressing the land of Yongzhou had also advanced to the 26th transformation. With Gu Chincha's current cultivation base, with each advancement in level, his combat prowess would increase by several times, or even tenfold. Because he had won against Wan Senshi in a battle of magical powers against Jing Fanqing, he had obtained Wan Senshi's Tao-seeking diagram, the method to condense the world tree, and the essence of the Tree of Wishes. Gu Chincha's comprehension of the primordial tree had deepened. He used the heavenly Tao technique to simulate everything, and it was like a fish in water. What was even more amazing was that when he advanced to the 26th transformation, all techniques returned to one. He had refined the all-elephant shattering cudgel and fused it into his body. This was why his current combat prowess, not including his medium-class world, was comparable to a god-level expert at the 30 transformation of the Tao realm, world creation. If he improved further and reached the more crucial 27th transformation, seamless space between two worlds, he would be able to tear apart space. Then, with his own strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to kill a god-shattering dust world. The all-elephant shattering cudgel's ability was to destroy worlds and destroy all phenomena. It was true that Gu Chansha could use the art of heavenly Tao to activate 70 to 80% of his power, but only when he reached the 27th transformation and comprehended the wonders of space tearing could he use his powerful magic power to tear space. Only then could he use the full power of the all-elephants shattering cudgel. Now, with a single thought from Gu Chansha, the all-elephants shattering cudgel that he had refined in his body had already turned into a ball of runes. This ball of runes wasn't the main body, but the will that had been refined. It was the god of strength's true god Tao. The god of strength was known as the god of strength, so his true god Tao was to use strength to destroy everything. This ball of runes was a spiritual will that had fused into Gu Chincha's heart, causing his spirit force to reach the realm of being able to use 200 million things at once. Moreover, when Gu Chansha was slowly nurturing this rune, the god of strength's body also started to appear in his heavenly Tao technique. It was as if he had obtained the god of strength's true orthodoxy. Chapter 641. The Hercules god was a true god, so he naturally had a deity seat and an inheritance. And the all-encompassing destruction cudgel was something he had spent his entire life forging. Bits and pieces of his experiences were infused into it. From this cudgel, Gu Chunsha could extract the true essence of the Titan god spirit, the source of his strength, and infused it into his own mind. Not only did his spirit force skyrocket, allowing him to multitask, but it also caused the circulation of his heavenly Tao energy to become even stronger. At the same time, he already knew that his heavenly Tao arcane power was actually omnipotent. It was just that he was unable to activate it due to his cultivation level. One day, when his cultivation realm reached a certain level, he would be able to wield the heaven's path immortal energy, and that would truly be an unstoppable force. As he comprehended more and more, he had a deeper understanding of how to raise the combat strength and cultivation of the puppets. Now, each puppet of common people's commander, apart from rising to Tao realm 26 transformations, all techniques back to one, could execute more spells, and their divination skills would also become deeper. A common people's commander at 26 Tao realm transformation could totally suppress the small fry and help the governor do many things. Unfortunately, the general of common people wasn't a living being, but a puppet. In this great era, even normal people could obtain fortuitous encounters, but the general of common people didn't have a single one. This was the biggest drawback. Gu Qinsha was thinking about how to let common people's general have a fortuitous encounter. To others, this was just wishful thinking. Puppets were puppets. How could they have fortune and luck to obtain fortuitous encounters? If the common people's commander had luck and fortune, then how would others live? However, Gu Qinsha was someone who had cultivated the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao was omnipotent, so naturally, it could increase the fortune and luck of the common people's marshal. Moreover, he had obtained the Tao orthodoxy of fortune, prosperity, and longevity from longevity god, which gave him a deeper understanding of the Tao of fate. What was fate? That was a certain kind of choice that people made toward the future. A person's future path had many choices, from good to bad, constantly changing. That was why a person's luck was sometimes strong, and sometimes it was low. When one was at his peak, there would always be a benefactor helping him, allowing him to rise rapidly. When he was at his lowest, he would fall to his death while walking, and even drinking water would get stuck in the gaps between his teeth. However, if one were to use some kind of secret technique to change one's luck when one was unlucky, one would be able to change the direction of one's future. Walking in the world, every step one took was either heaven or hell. It could be said to be treading on thin ice. One had to choose the most correct future for every step they took. This was the secret of karmic luck. However, even an existence like one, Senshi could not grasp all the fates and futures he could choose and choose the most suitable one for himself. After studying it for a long time, Gu Chunsha had already begun to see through the fundamental secrets of fate, the right to choose the future. He started to think about how to give luck to the 360 common people's generals. In Wan Senshi's Tao seeking diagram, if the leaf of the small world tree was obtained by someone, that person would obtain extremely strong luck in a short period of time. However, their future path would be cut off, and the path of life would become a path of death. Gu Chunsha was familiar with the Heaven's Sacrifice talisman, so he could naturally see that the leaf of the small world tree was something that Wan Senshi had comprehended by imitating the Heaven's Sacrifice talisman. Within it was the Tao of stealing luck. The true meaning of my common people heaven-mending art is that if the heavenly Tao is lacking, then all living beings can make up for it. If all living beings are lacking, then the heavenly Tao should also make up for it. The hearts of all living beings, with the blessing of their wishes, can revolve the universe, reverse fate, and create luck for my 360 common people's generals. Gu Chunsha continued to comprehend and use it, perfecting the common people heaven-mending art further. The knowledge that he had obtained even surpassed that of some heavenly venerables. Thus, the common people heaven-mending art that he had created was something that even heavenly venerables might not be able to create. Naturally, it had its own mysteries within. He had now split into 3 incarnations. One was Ghost Iku, who followed longevity god and temporarily hid within the alliance of 10,000 immortals, constantly paying attention to Yu Huan Lu's movements. The second was Fong Lin, who was the second in command of the Human Dragon League and assisted Qin Han in managing the Xin province to resist the invasion of the demon army. The last one was following Do Yu, Ling Xiaofei, and the others to tour the divine continent and obtain fortuitous encounters. His incarnation, Unfettered Flowing Void, had some luck as well. Following these people, he obtained some decent immortal Dao treasures and medicinal pills. To him, it was better than nothing. It was true that there were many fortuitous encounters in the divine central continent, but almost 99% of them were of no use to Gu Qinsha. First, he had refined the heavenly demon tree into the wishing tree, and now he had turned the wishing tree into the world tree, which could give birth to endless treasures. Even heavenly venerables could not compare to him in terms of manufacturing ability. With just a thought, the world tree could give birth to extremely precious immortal pills. In fact, the real world tree was something that Wan Xinchi had seen when he traveled through countless space-time turbulences, as well as many vast thousand worlds born from the primal chaos Big Bang. It was not something that could be refined by humans, but one of the pillars that grew in the vast thousand worlds. After Gu Qinsha absorbed the world tree, the wishing tree underwent its final evolution, breaking away from the peak of ancient Tianzi and reaching another realm. Thus, he simply named it the world tree. It symbolized the wish of the common people, and the sphere could transform into a vast thousand worlds. Now, let alone 3 clones, even if he had 10 million clones, he could still use them freely. Originally, he had another clone, Wu Dang Xian, who was in a martial saint's paradise, ready to devour the entire Wu family's small thousand worlds at any time. Unfortunately, the martial emperor had suddenly recovered and descended. He had sensed that something was wrong, so he had quietly retreated. The martial emperor seemed to have recovered all of his abilities, and he had even advanced a step further. This was definitely one of Wan Xinchi's schemes. In his view, Jing Fanqing was a small leek that had been harvested twice. The martial emperor was a big leek that had to be harvested again. I wonder if Jing Fanqing will turn the entire Holy Sama Empire into a Buddhist kingdom after being enlightened by the Buddhist sect? But the Buddhist sect is really not good at business. If a country believed in this path, then everyone would seek liberation. They would not produce or develop, and they would practice meditation and peace, cutting off all desires and especially not procreate. Then the race and the country would basically shrink. This is also the main reason why it is difficult for the Buddhist sect to develop. But this is the doctrine of the Buddhist sect, and it cannot be changed. Gu Qinsha was very clear about this. But the Holy Sama Empire is doing well. Jing Qiu has spent a lot of effort. This is also why Wan Xinchi chose Jing Fanqing. Jing Qiu actually obtained the Myrtle Imperial Star and fused it into his body. He is a person of great fortune. His future achievements will not stop there. If Jing Fanqing follows him, there is a possibility that he will succeed. Wan Xinchi will not let go of this chess piece. Gu Qinsha's true body had already returned to the Lesser Divine Prefecture to take charge. The Lesser Divine Prefecture had fused many primordial treasures, including the Amitabha Sutra Banner, the Wintry Pearl, the Blade of Law Enforcement, the Hurricane Gourd, the Brocade Bamboo Brush, the 10,000 Army Blade, the 100 Mountain Fan, and the 3,000 Softwater Cauldron. Each of these treasures was equivalent to the Buzhou Palace. There were 8 of them in total. If they were all fused, they would simply have the foundation to advance to a small thousand world. At that time, Gu Qinsha had extorted the great families to the point of bleeding. Currently, there were more than 800,000 cultivators in the Lesser Divine Prefecture. All sorts of powerful sea creatures that had cultivated the great people's universal purification scripture had developed human characteristics. That righteous merit had completely extinguished all thoughts and was now fully planning for the lesser divine prefecture. With these god-level experts working day and night, it was only a matter of time before the lesser divine prefecture became a small thousand world. Gu Qinsha sat in the Azure Dragon Pagoda in the middle of the small thousand world. He watched as the 800,000 cultivators and countless sea creatures prayed, swore, and made wishes. Some entered the small thousand world of the common people's wish sphere, while others nourished the lesser divine prefecture's divine prefecture boundary and transformed it into the world's gray space. In reality, the divine prefecture boundary of the lesser divine prefecture was very sturdy. After digesting so many primordial treasures, the entire lesser divine prefecture had long since reached the peak of the minute dust world. Of course, it was not that easy to transform a minute dust world into a small thousand world. Logically, it would take at least 5 god-level experts, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of believers to offer sacrifices every year, and after more than 3,000 years, it would finally transform. However, in this lesser divine prefecture, Gu Qinsha had gathered 800,000 cultivators. These cultivators were not ordinary people. They were all powerful existences. The power of wishes, prayers, and sacrifices produced by them was equivalent to hundreds of millions of ordinary people. In addition, Gu Qinsha now often produced heavenly dew rain to nourish the lesser divine prefecture, which was extremely beneficial to the development of the world itself. Of course, although there were so many benefits in the lesser divine prefecture, the only god-level expert was righteous merit, which was the Wu family's old ancestor, Wu Pagong. Of course, there was also a talisman formed by Shout Donglai's god-level cultivation, but he was not a human, so he could not produce the power of wish. He was only integrated into the Azure Dragon Pagoda to suppress the lesser divine prefecture. In other words, the lesser divine prefecture currently only had one god-level expert. However, the lesser divine prefecture was connected to a small thousand world of the common people's wish sphere. When it transmitted the power of wish to the small thousand world, it also received feedback from the small thousand world. The feedback from a small thousand world was not something that a god-level expert could compare to. Even the heavenly venerables could not compare to the small thousand world. After cultivating the small thousand world, Gu Qinsha was able to control this world, and condensing a low-level world was a walk in the park. Now, Zhuge was working with a few great mystic sects, and the world were connected. At the moment of communication, they complemented each other, and the lesser divine prefecture would receive a huge boost. In an instant, it would become a small thousand world. As long as it became a small thousand world, the lesser divine prefecture would be considered a brand new mystic sect of the immortal Tao, and it would be the ruler of the seas. It could completely stop the invasion of the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor. It could even be used as a springboard for the Yonko to invade the Great Wei dynasty. This was true strategic defense and offense. Chapter 642. The Great Might dynasty had conspired against the central divine prefecture time and time again, even joining forces with the demon race and barbarian race to invade the lands of the imperial court. When Gu Qinsha first made his debut, the first thing he sees was Prince Gu's heavenly dragon spirit-condensing flag, who allowed the Great Wei dynasty to plot against the Yonko. Not allowing Yonko to retaliate, Gu Qinsha had been making arrangements a long time ago. He made Bao Ming a spy, and his development in the Great Wei dynasty was rather smooth. The structure of the Great Wei dynasty was not like the Yonko, where everything was decided by the emperor. Instead, it was more like a feudal system. Many nobles had their own fiefdoms, and within their fiefdoms, the appointment and dismissal of officials were all decided by the nobles themselves. It was just that the nobles had the responsibility of protecting the emperor and paying taxes to the emperor. Even the emperor could not casually dismiss or kill nobles. Otherwise, if order was disrupted, the nobles would be attacked by the masses. Of course, if the nobles rebelled, they would basically be destroyed. In short, the structure of the Great Wei dynasty was completely different from that of the Yonko. It was a completely different style. Hence, while Bao Ming-er was working with the calming immortal agency, his business was going smoothly, and his family's influence in the Great Wei dynasty had been greatly expanded. With this as a stronghold, Gu Qinsha would be able to swallow the Great Wei dynasty whole. The Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor's restrictions were increasing. He was also being summoned by the heavenly Tao. He had to resist it, and his strength could not be displayed. Moreover, Gu Qinsha didn't fear him at all. If it weren't for the fact that he was being held back by so many parties and that the Great Prestige dynasty was too far away, then even if he defeated them, he wouldn't gain much. Otherwise, he would have already activated his dimensional realm and destroyed the Great Prestige dynasty. The most important thing right now was to suppress the Devil Calamity. Gu Qinsha activated the Heavenly Tao technique and sat in the small divine province, controlling the changes in the divine province. He was also waiting for the critical moment when the Dharma Saint would ascend to a dimensional realm. Then, he would be able to take advantage of the situation. It would be best if he could capture the Dharma Saint himself. Like this, he could suppress the Dharma Saint within the world tree and use it to assist in the transformations. As he refined the Dharma Saint, he would be able to ensure that the dimensional realm wouldn't lack kinetic energy. The Dharma Saint was currently a heavenly lord. Suppress and capture a heavenly venerable? That was a crazy idea, but Gu Qinsha felt very confident. By then, the profound sect of the universe, the Tai Fantasy sect and the Heavenly Dance Fantasy sect, would communicate with each other with the help of the world tree and form a real alliance. In this way, a colossus would be born. It was indeed possible to suppress the Dharma Saint in the chaos. Of course, the premise of this was that the Dharma Saint would be attacked from all sides and unable to ascend to a dimensional realm. If the Dharma Saint were to form a dimensional realm, then it would be very difficult to deal with him. The world aristocratic families would take the Dharma Saint as the center and unite once more. When Gu Qinsha activated it in the small divine prefecture, his eyes pierced through the endless space-time and saw all the Dharma realms in the depths of the space-time turbulence. All the Dharma realms were a Dharma ring, and the ring naturally formed a world. Vaguely, it seemed to be shrouded in a layer of fog. He couldn't divine it, and it was hard to see it clearly. This is the power of the heaven sacrificial decree. Gu Qinsha knew that the Dharma Saint was using the power of the heaven sacrificial decree to prevent powerhouses from calculating and accelerating the evolution of the small kiliacosm. Wu Dangkong was also helping. Recently, Wu Dangkong didn't activate the heaven sacrificial decree. Therefore, Wu Dangkong didn't gain any benefits. It seemed that Wu Dangkong had made up his mind. Even if he didn't use the heaven sacrificial decree, he wouldn't let Gu Qinsha benefit. This was the so-called harming others without benefiting oneself. Gu Qinsha also didn't know why Wu Dangkong had such a strong hatred. If this woman cooperated with the Tranquil Immortal Bureau and worked for the imperial court, not only would she gain great power, she would also gain countless benefits. It's hard to predict people's hearts. Some people are stubborn and can't change their minds no matter how hard they try. The power of the mind is ever-changing. Even the heavens can't measure the hearts of all living beings. In this world, the hearts of all living beings are stronger than the heavenly Tao. Unfortunately, the hearts of all living beings are in a mess and can't be condensed. Naturally, it's impossible for a man to conquer the heavens. Gu Qinsha calculated in his heart. He used the knowledge he had obtained in large amounts to calculate with his current mental energy. His spirit force was now able to split 200 million things at once. When he calculated, he could instantly grasp all sorts of things. The higher his cultivation and the deeper his comprehension, the stronger his ability to calculate would be. The changes to the common people heaven-mending technique would also be more profound. Based on my calculations and guesses, there should still be a few months before all the magic worlds advance to a medium-grade world. The magic power I left in the true God throne can only hide like a turtle. I can't raise my head or see what's going on inside. The Dharma Saint's oppression is getting stronger and stronger. This means that in the process of refining all the magic worlds, not only has his cultivation completely recovered, but it has also improved. I can only wait. When a small-grade world evolves into a medium-grade world, it will be the strongest moment, but also the weakest moment. He will face many tribulations. I will act at that moment. Gu Chunsha paid close attention to all the magic worlds. The rings continued to jump about in the chaotic space. Normal god realms, and even saints couldn't lock onto them and find it hard to see them. If not for Gu Chunsha leaving a bit of his own power within, he would probably have to use the power of a medium-grade world to find and observe them. He was waiting. Numerous strong existences were also waiting. When the legalism faction advanced, all their secrets would be exposed. At that time, it would be time for the big powers to act. But at that moment, something weird happened. The unified Dharma cutting ring suddenly expanded 100 times. The power of the world caused a giant storm in the chaotic space. Numerous treasures flashed across the ring and then melted into the depths of the world. He didn't know where these treasures came from, but Gu Chunsha noticed many ancient treasures. What is going on? Gu Chunsha was shocked. Before he could respond, the law world formed by the unified law-cutting ring expanded once more. Endless strength surged outwards, and the smell of a dimensional realm began to spread outwards. Then, a giant world vaguely protected all the magic worlds. That world was a strange and dazzling one, seemingly filled with endless temptation, hope, and change. It was an ancient medium-grade world. Who knew how many experts there were, and there were even heavenly venerables controlling it. Great Sky Demon Prison. Gu Chunsha saw it from his ancient memories. This giant power that protected all the magic worlds was the Sky Demon Race. The Sky Demon Race's medium-grade world was called the Great Sky Demon Prison. It was the most mysterious, tyrannical, and ever-changing place in the demon domain. The Sky Demon Race was the true ancient monarch of the demon race. During the demon apocalypse, the Sky Demon Race had never appeared. But now, they were carrying out a huge plan to help the Dharma Saint refine a medium-grade world. This move was simply perfect, suppressing the center, a strike that destroyed the ages. Gu Chunsha's heart sank. He had predicted that the Sky Demon Race would make a move, but he didn't expect that they would go all out to help the Dharma Saint ascend. For the sake of the Dharma Saint's ascension, the Sky Demon Race had secretly provided countless benefits. The treasures that appeared just now must have been given to the Dharma Saint by the Sky Demon Race. The Sky Demon Race was indeed generous and didn't bother with trifles. When the Dharma Saint worked with the pygmy demons, both sides were careful, afraid that the other would become a threat to them. Logically speaking, Gu Chunsha knew that the Dharma Saint's cooperation with any demon race was like asking a tiger for its skin, and there was no way he could gain the other party's trust. Even if it was the demon race, no matter how closely they worked with the Dharma Saint, it was impossible for them to help the Dharma Saint ascend to a medium-grade world. This was the basic principle. Gu Chunsha could even predict that when the Dharma Saint ascended, the demon race would be the first to attack the Dharma Saint. If the Dharma Saint ascended to a medium-grade world, the demon race would probably turn the tables, and they would be manipulated by the Dharma Saint in the future. But now, the Sky Demon Race was actually selflessly helping the Dharma Saint. What was going on? Even if Gu Chunsha was a schemer, he still didn't know the reason behind it. Not to mention Gu Chunsha, it was likely that the Dharma Saint's sudden move had been hidden from even some of the old antiques. With the protection of the Sky Demon Race and the Dharma Saint's sudden ascension, no one could act blindly without thinking. Gu Chunsha could even see countless demons being driven by the Sky Demon Race as sacrifices and nutrients, merging into all the Dharma realms. There were probably billions or even tens of billions. The demon race was much more numerous than the human race, and it was unknown how many demons the Sky Demon Race commanded. As the lowest existences, these demons were slaves and horses to be slaughtered. These large numbers of demons merged into all the Dharma realms and died directly. Their corpses and souls became nutrients for the birth of a world, and then the entire world would immediately be complete. No one had expected that the Dharma saint and the sky demon race would be so generous. The tables have turned. From now on, the day of bloodshed for all life is coming. Even with Gu Chinch's composure, he knew that the Dharma saint and the sky demon race had merged to give birth to a dimensional realm, and such power could no longer be stopped. He had underestimated the Dharma saint, underestimated the sky demon race, and underestimated the workings of the world. He had miscalculated this time. What a sky demon race! In the depths of the spatial turbulence, Wan Senshi and the immortal master were both shocked. They couldn't react in time as they watched the sky demon prison protecting all the Dharma realms gradually forming into a dimensional realm. They knew that even if they attacked with all their might, they would not be able to destroy the Dharma saint even if they could gain the upper hand. Instead, they would be letting others take advantage of them. One miscalculation, and they had missed the best opportunity. Immortal Master, you have attracted the sky demon race's frenzied retaliation because you have recruited the eternal demon race. Wan Senshi dispersed the spiritual power that he had gathered. If not for that, the sky demon race would definitely not have given up so many things to nurture the Dharma saint and ruin our grand plan. The sky demon race is indeed the king of the demon race, and the most ancient demon race. The immortal master's eyes were deep. Our alliance is useless. What a pity. If not for the fact that there are others eyeing us covetously, even if it is the sky demon race and the Dharma saint, we would still be annihilated by them. Wan Senshi was still a little indignant. Chapter 643. The Dharma saint is quite a character. I can't believe he even miscalculated us. Wan Senshi said, the situation in the world is getting more and more complicated. Even with our cultivation base, we can't do everything as we wish. We're not omnipotent. It's normal to miscalculate occasionally. Immortal Master sighed. From this, we can see that in this rolling general trend, I'm afraid even you and I can't be sure of victory, and there's even the risk of death. I don't believe it. At least, there's no power that can kill me yet. Wan Senshi said, Yuan Gu, Puda, fighting those three little guys won't work, and neither will Xing Qiong Shi, let alone the others. Not necessarily. The forces that will appear in the future will only get stronger. Even if you save Thunder Extreme Essence and Thunder Extreme Blood, there's still the risk of death, and they won't be able to resist the erosion of the golden light, Immortal Master said. Indeed, Wan Senshi didn't hide this. If it weren't for this, I'm afraid the Tranquil Immortal Department would have been destroyed long ago. We'll have to reconsider this matter. The situation is now complicated. Heavenly Demon Clan, very good. You dare to ruin my plan. Immortal Master's words were filled with killing intent. Unifying the demon race is also one of your plans. Wan Senshi said, of course the Heavenly Demon Clan won't let you do as you wish, and they'll fight to the death. But I didn't expect them to be so willing. I wonder what kind of talent has emerged from the Heavenly Demon Clan? According to you and me, the current Heavenly Demon Soul Devourer doesn't seem to have the courage. The Heavenly Demon Soul Devourer was the ancestor of the Heavenly Demon Clan. Looks like you'll have to investigate what's happening inside the Heavenly Demon Clan. You and I still have to work together, and that's enough to suppress the Dharma Saint and the Heavenly Demon Clan. Even if the Dharma Saint ascends to a medium-class world, he won't be able to ruin my plan. Wan Senshi was still very unhappy. Originally, everything in the alliance of 10,000 immortals was under his control. But now, all the aristocratic families in the world must be led by the Dharma Saint. Let's go back and make our own plans. In a flash, the immortal master disappeared. Wan Senshi disappeared for good. A moment later, Wan Senshi arrived in the middle of the desert in the holy Sama Empire. At that moment, Jing Fanqing was in the midst of cultivating. Buddhist light shone from his body as a vast Buddhist power enveloped the entire hall. Suddenly, A profound look appeared in his eyes. How do I turn the holy Sama Empire into a supreme Buddhist kingdom? Right now, the entire empire believes in Jingxiu. If I forcibly change their faith, I'm afraid that it will lead to a bloodbath, and Jingxiu won't let me go. I need to think about this at length. Suddenly, his eyes froze, because he saw someone. He wore a long robe and a bronze mask. It was Wan Senshi. Humph! Wan Senshi was really angry. You piece of trash. If it wasn't for your weak will, how could the Buddhist sect and that kid Gu Chansha have taken advantage of you? Not only did you lose my Tao-seeking painting, but after that kid Gu Chansha refined it, his cultivation base increased again, and he comprehended many truths. Not only that, you have also been brainwashed by the Buddhist sect, and you want to destroy the good situation created in this desert empire. Lord Wan Senshi this. Jing Fanxing was a little flustered. Although he had been brainwashed by the Buddhist sect, he was still clear-headed. I want to turn you back, Wan Senshi said. Although the Buddhist sect has set up a trap in your body, even if the Supreme Buddha came in person, he would not be able to do anything. As he spoke, deep in Wan Senshi's palm, he seemed to cut off some kind of power. Then he grabbed at the air, and a ball of Buddhist light came out of Jing Fanxing's body. The ball of Buddhist light twisted and struggled, but it was useless. Wan Senshi crushed it and turned it to ashes. At this moment, the Buddhist sect did not dare to fight against the furious Wan Senshi, so they gave up on Jing Fanxing. After the ball of Buddhist light was taken away, Jing Fanxing immediately came to his senses. He was drenched in sweat as he knelt down. Lord Wan Senshi, please spare me. I was also bewitched by the Buddhist sect and Gu Chansha. Under the power of these two giants, there is nothing I can do. Trash will always be trash. I'll give you one last chance. Wan Senshi seemed to think that Jing Fanxing still had some uses upon. You did not obtain any Dharma treasures in the divine central continent. That is because the opportunity has not yet arrived. If you forcibly seek out the opportunity, you will naturally meet with misfortune. What you need to do now is to develop the Holy Sama Empire and make it extremely prosperous. That way, the merit of nurturing all life and transforming this desert will fall on you, and your luck will change because of that. I gave you the Tao-seeking diagram and the small world tree to nurture this desert, but you are still blinded by greed. Your disciple knows his wrongs. Jing Fanxing knew that if he did not pay attention, he would be killed by Wan Senshi. I spent a great deal of effort to refine the Tao-seeking diagram and the small world tree. Since you have been taken away by others, I cannot refine them for you. What a pity, what a pity. If you had used the diagram and the tree, you would have been able to expand the holy Sama Empire in the desert dozens of times over. At that time, your merit and luck would have skyrocketed. When you go to the divine central continent again, the fortuitous encounters you will obtain will not be comparable to what you have now. What you need to do now is to nurture your own luck, understand? Wan Senshi had nothing to say to Jing Fanxing's stupidity. With a wave of his hand, another Dharma treasure flew out. This treasure was a small gate that was transparent like a crystal. This treasure is called the minor spatial door. I created it by imitating the real spatial door, Wan Senshi said. The real spatial door is in the hands of the void worms. Right now, there are some problems with the expansion of the desert empire. It is too isolated, and the transportation of resources is not very smooth. Now that you have this door, you can build portals everywhere. You can even communicate with the distant wildlands and the Great Way Dynasty. You can even communicate with the regions beyond the eastern wastelands and the frigid snow region. This way, you will be able to obtain endless resources and people. You will be able to completely green this desert and obtain merit and luck. With the support of the will of the land of infinity, you will have truly succeeded. Many thanks, Your Excellency. Jing Fanxing kowtowed repeatedly and took the minor spatial door. If you still lose this treasure, then there's no need for you to come see me. Kill yourself, or else I'll make your life a living hell. Remember, what you need to do now is to continuously develop the holy Sama Empire. Success will come naturally, and your cultivation will also comprehend a lot more because of this. Wan Xinchi reminded him again, no matter what kind of fortuitous encounter you have, it is better to stay here and work hard. But the god of this place is Jing Qiu. Everything I have built is just to help him, Jing Fanqing said bravely. Right now, Jing Qiu is working with the Dharma Saint. I can't compete with him at all. Don't worry, I have my ways. Wan Xinchi said, as long as you work hard on my life-death illusion destruction, it is only a matter of time before you surpass Jing Qiu. Understand, I will definitely work hard. Jing Fanqing didn't dare say anything else. Other than this minor spatial door, I will also plant a cultivation seed in your body. It is the essence of my body. When you cultivate the life-death illusion destruction, you can refine it. Your cultivation and comprehension speed will be 10 times faster, maybe even 100 times faster. Wan Xinchi flicked his finger, and in an instant, another ball of light entered Jing Fanqing's sea of consciousness. Then he disappeared. This was his real body. Only by coming with his real body could he suppress the Buddhist sect and take Jing Fanqing in again. He didn't want to give up on this chess piece. After Wan Xinchi left, Jing Fanqing's face was filled with hatred. Gu Qinsha, this time, I fell for your trick again and was almost purified by the Buddhist sect. This time, I won't let you get ahead of yourself. In the Dharma realm, the school of legalism, countless people cheered and jumped for joy. This was a moment of success, a historical moment. Countless people in the school of legalism had tears in their eyes. Jing Qiu and Wu Dangkong looked at each other. They hadn't expected that the Dharma Saint would be able to form a dimensional realm so quickly. The heavenly demons had done their best to help him. What's wrong? The Dharma Saint looked at Wu Dangkong and Jing Qiu with a calm expression. In reality, my use of the true God position was just a cover to deceive everyone. The most important thing was that I made an agreement with the heavenly demons. They fully supported me. Is our agreement still in effect? Wu Dangkong asked. Of course it is. I will use the power of the dimensional realm to help you increase your cultivation. However, I have decided to give the true God position to Jing Qiu. You have the Heaven Sacrifice Talisman, so you will form the true God position sooner or later. Of course, I won't mistreat you. The Dharma Saint said, I have made an agreement with the heavenly demons. I will give you a few primordial treasures. Now, with the power of the dimensional realm, I will help you completely suppress the divine prefecture ominous armor. Together, this armor will transform and become your armor. The power of this armor will be equivalent to that of a sage. It will be completely under your control. You will have the incarnation of a sage. Xing Qingshi's injuries probably haven't healed yet. This is a good opportunity. That's good. Wu Dangkong's expression softened a little. Jing Qiu, on the other hand, wasn't happy. Lord Dharma Saint knows that Wan Xinchi trained Jing Fanqing, so you train me to compete with Wan Xinchi. Are you trying to cause internal strife in the Jing clan? Chapter 644. Lord Dharma Saint calculations are profound. This time, even Wan Xinchi and the other antiques were fooled. If I were to obtain the position of a true god, then the Holy Samar Empire would not be like this. Jing Qiu calculated in his heart. Originally, Wan Xinchi wanted to control the Holy Sama Empire and cultivate Jing Fanqing. Now, not only have I destroyed his plan, but I have also made all the aristocratic families in the world belong to my side. His alliance of 10,000 immortals will not be able to achieve anything. As a result, he hates me even more. But it doesn't matter. This time, if it weren't for my deep calculation, I'm afraid I would have been killed by Wan Xinchi. The Dharma Saint's heart was as clear as a mirror. Now that His Excellency Dharma Saint has refined a dimensional realm, it is more than enough to contend with the calming immortal department. We should also reinvigorate the imperial court, seize back our power, and begin to control the situation in the world. Wu Dangkong was eager to give it a try. That's only natural. The imperial court cannot be controlled by the calming immortal department forever. The Dharma saint nodded. In truth, whoever seizes control of the central divine prefecture will obtain supreme fortune. Especially now, they might even grasp some deathless Taos. Let's not talk about these things first. I have my own plans. The two of you have helped me condense my dimensional realm, and that is a great merit. Now, Wu Dangkong, you should be able to control a portion of the power of this dimensional realm. Wu Dangkong silently circulated it, and suddenly, wind and clouds surged around him. Her face lit up with joy. As I thought, I can stimulate the might of this dimensional realm. Unfortunately, my strength isn't enough, otherwise I would be able to use at least a third of it. You deserve it, the Dharma saint said. If I hadn't used your heavenly sacrificial talisman to do all sorts of things, those old fogies wouldn't have been able to figure out the secret within. I also wouldn't have been able to smoothly complete the promotion of my dimensional realm. With your current strength, it would be extremely difficult for you to stimulate even a 10,000th of this dimensional realm's power. You have to know that 1,000 dimensional realms are equal to a single dimensional realm. However, I will help you refine the divine land ominous armor. Once you obtain it, it will be the same as having a saint-level incarnation. Once you stimulate the power of this dimensional realm, no one will be able to deal with you. Guchen Sha, it's impossible for those people from the calming immortal department to order you around in court. You can regain control of the upper study. Build your own forces and talents. Difficult. Wu Dangkong thought about it and felt that it was still a difficult task. We don't have the ability to destroy the tranquil immortal department right now. Moreover, ever since the last imperial court meeting, my power has completely collapsed. It will be extremely difficult to rebuild it. Even if I go to the high study room right now, no one will listen to me, and I can't use my authority to arrest ministers. Otherwise, not only will the Department of Tranquil Immortals deal with me, if they activate Gu Taxian's restrictions, I'm afraid I won't be able to resist them. That is a problem. Jing Xiu was well aware of the struggles of the imperial court. The general trend has been lost, and the hearts of the people have also scattered. Unless there is an overwhelming power, the Tranquil Fairy Department will still have the upper hand in this stalemate. The opportunity will come very soon. The Dharma Saint said, the demon race's second attack is about to begin. This time, it won't be a small skirmish. The dozens of races led by the pygmy demon race were defeated in their first attack, so they will retreat to the second line. In their place, the Sky Demon race will personally lead hundreds, perhaps even thousands, of races to make a comeback. This time, the demon disaster will be no small matter. I will also join forces with the many aristocratic families to rebuild the central divine continent, overthrow Yonko's rule, and let you, Wu Dangkong, become the son of heaven. In any case, you are in control of the heavenly sacrificial decree and have a righteous name. It's not impossible for you to establish a new dynasty. That's true. Wu Dangkong gritted his teeth. I've had enough of these cowardly days. Even if I have to die, I have to do it with a bang. This can't go on. Even if Gu Taxian counterattacks in the future, I will bear the brunt of it. Even Gu Taxian's women are dead set on him. Even the illustrious immortal master is no exception. You're really an exception. The Dharma Saint also didn't understand why Wu Dangkong hated Gu Taxian and Yonko so much. Perhaps it was fate. He was now trying to rope in Wu Dangkong, and even gave Wu Dangkong a third of the dimensional realm's control over it. This was not a small move, but it was inevitable. He would completely tie Wu Dangkong to all the Dharma realms. When the world finally changed, if the heavenly sacrificial decree changed, then he would be the first person to seize it. This was a far-reaching plan. The Dharma Saint knew that if he obtained the heavenly sacrificial decree and refined it while the world changed, he could absolutely become the first person. What a mortal master, Wan Senshi, the three celestial masters, Xing Qiong. He would suppress all of them. His ambition was so great that it wasn't something that an ordinary magnate could hope to match. 10,000 ferocious refinement. At this time, the Dharma Saint had refined the dimensional realm. His every move had a great divine power. As the creator of the realm, his cultivation was already close to any of the three celestial masters. Even if there was a slight difference, it was impossible for the other party to have an overwhelming advantage. At this time, the Dharma Saint could be said to have truly become a great magnate. He grabbed, and the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor fell into his hand. The armor seemed to feel that disaster was coming. It couldn't help but send out a fierce mental wave. Dharma Saint, you shouldn't have gone against Xing Qiong. Too much nonsense. The Dharma Saint's power poured into it. He was already a celestial master, so it was very easy for him to suppress his sage. Coupled with the power of the dimensional realm, the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor couldn't overturn the heavens. Magic treasures from the ancient heavenly fiend clan flew out from the dimensional realm. It was unknown whether the Dharma Saint had robbed the heavenly fiend clan's treasury or not. These magic treasures all entered the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor. Wu Dangkong was dumbfounded. What kind of agreement did the Dharma Saint make with the heavenly fiend clan? Why does it feel like the ancient heavenly fiend clan supports him in everything? There are so many magic treasures, and they're giving them to him for free? Wu Dangkong couldn't figure it out. Rumble. The Dharma Saint unleashed some kind of magic technique, and a huge chain of runes entered the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor. Hurry up and use your magic power to refine it with the Sun Moon Dragon Dharma. This armor will become one with your heart, and you will be able to command it as you wish. It won't be able to resist you. I've fused the Heavenly Fiend 5 Skunda ancient treasure into this treasure. In addition to the Heavenly Fiend's Heart Demon Oath, I'll use the Son of Heaven's God sealing technique to refine it. Even if Xing Qiong comes, he won't be able to take it away. The Dharma Saint's voice was condensed to the extreme. Wu Dangkong didn't hesitate anymore. He immediately used his magic power to permeate and control the armor. In a short while, the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armors was completely transformed. Not only was it controlled by Wu Dangkong, but it also revealed the secrets of the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor. Rumble. Wu Dangkong put on the armor in the Sun Moon sacrificial altar, and the aura of a sage immediately began to emanate from her body. Wonderful, wonderful. Now that I'm wearing this armor, I can unleash the power of a sage. Wu Dangkong was overjoyed. That's right. This treasure has the power to topple the heavens and topple the earth. When the Xing Qiong clan refined this treasure, they expended an untold amount of energy and plundered countless treasures and living beings. The Dharma Saint sighed. Helping you refine this treasure is the same as freeing you from the Xing Qiong clan's control. The Xing Qiong clan will definitely harbor a grudge against me, and they'll definitely try to make a move against me in the future. Now that the Dharma Saint has refined a medium-grade world, he probably doesn't need to care about the Xing Qiong clan anymore. Rumor has it that the Xing Qiong clan refined a medium-grade world on their own, but that world was destroyed and plundered by the three heavenly lords. Now that they've been reborn, it won't be easy to refine a medium-grade world. Jing Qiu understood a little better. The Dharma Saint has gathered the power of many aristocratic families, and with the help of the heavenly devil tribe, he might even be able to suppress and kill the Xing Qiong clan. It's not that simple. The Dharma Saint waved his hand dismissively. Up until now, the Xing Qiong clan's divine god grand magic has 100 layers, and it's still the strongest attack. If he unleashes all of it, he can destroy a minor kiliacosm with a single punch. Then, if he continues to attack like a tempest, even a medium-grade world will be damaged. Although he can't use its full power now, if the world changes and the divine god rotates, he'll be able to use its power again. I know. The Dharma Saint has already set up a chess piece in the Wildlands. He wants Gu Changjian to become the Lord of the Wildlands, and then he can harvest the entire Wildlands. Now that everything is ready, shouldn't we start carrying out the plan? Wu Dangkong asked. Of course. The Dharma saint nodded. The Lord of the Wildlands is no small matter. If my medium-grade world can devour the entire Wildlands continent, it will reach a terrifying level. Although it won't be able to become a chiliocosm, it will definitely be able to suppress many medium-grade worlds and become the ruler of all medium-grade worlds. Even if it's one Senshi, the three heavenly masters, or the immortal master, none of them will be a match for me. If we join forces, we will definitely be able to accomplish great things. In the desert of the Holy Sama Empire, I will also respond to the Dharma saint. Jing Xiu's eyes flashed with deep hatred. My Jing family was exterminated. This enmity must be avenged. This is the true divinity throne of the Lu god. At this time, the Dharma saint took out the true divinity throne. I pretended to refine this throne to confuse the outside world, but in truth, I relied on the heavenly devil tribe to ascend to a medium-grade world. The Dharma saint. At this time, the Dharma saint spoke. He wanted to say something, but hesitated. He was the #1 ancestor of the school of legalism. This true divinity throne should have been given to him, but the Dharma saint wanted to give it to Jing Xiu. Dharma saint, don't be impatient. I have my own plans, and I will naturally maximize the benefits. Jing Xiu's future destiny will far surpass yours, and his achievements will be limitless. The Dharma saint waved his hand. As he spoke, the true divinity throne had already fallen beneath Jing Xiu, allowing him to sit on it. Then, the Dharma saint spat out a mouthful of vital energy, allowing the true divinity throne and Jing Xiu to fuse together. In an instant, Jing Xiu's magic power skyrocketed. With the help of the true divinity throne, his strength, destiny, and lifespan were all raised to the extreme. Chapter 645. After sitting on the throne, Jing Xiu's cultivation soared like he was about to break through right away. The true God throne was one of the highest mysteries formed by the Son of Heaven in ancient times. The Son of Heaven God sealing technique was to use the energy of the Son of Heaven to form the true God throne. The position of true God was supreme. As long as one obtained it, they would be able to operate the heavenly Tao, absorb faith, and live for tens of thousands of years, or even hundreds of thousands of years. They would be able to watch the vicissitudes of life, the vicissitudes of the world, combat strength, realm, operation, divination. They were all 10 times increases. In other words, at that moment, Jing Xiu's overall strength increased by 10 times. His realm also received a huge buff, and he was just a step away from God realm. When Jing Xiu created the medium-sized world, he comprehended a lot. As one of the participants, the moment the medium-sized world leveled up, he received feedback from the world power. He reached the peak of Tao Realm 29 transformation, sense chaos. Such a fortuitous encounter was really rare because not many people could participate in the creation of a small-sized world into a medium-sized world. Thinking about it, in the universe, it was extremely rare to find a giant who could cultivate a medium-sized world. How could a normal God realm have such a fortuitous encounter? Jing Xiu was just a step away from reaching God realm. Dharma saint forcefully gave him the true God throne, which was a huge help. It seems like you are still lacking a little. Seeing that Jing Xiu was still revolving and unable to use the final power of the true God throne, Dharma saint nodded his head. He waved his sleeves, and many pearls flew into Jing Xiu's body. Sky Demon Relic. At that moment, Wu Dankong was shocked. That's right, it's the heavenly demonic relic. After the ancient heavenly demonic relic died, its spiritual crystallization turned into a relic. It contains extremely powerful spiritual energy. Right now, it can replenish Jing Xiu's primordial spirit, allowing him to completely fuse with the position of a true god. In order to cultivate Jing Xiu, the Dharma saints seem to have thrown caution to the wind. A large number of heavenly demon relics entered Jing Xiu's body, and Jing Xiu's cultivation base skyrocketed once more. I'll teach you everything I know about my cultivation path and the ultimate truths I've comprehended. You have to reach the deity level as soon as possible. Once again, the Dharma Saint forcibly injected his comprehensions into Jing Qiu's sea of consciousness. Bam, bam, bam. A huge explosion occurred in Jing Qiu's body. It was as if something had broken, like an iceberg disintegrating and melting. Then, all of his magic power began to transform and actually produce the power of the world. Worlds combined. At this moment, the Dharma Saint transformed his own power once again to assist Jing Qiu in his advancement. Ah! Jing Qiu let out a long roar. It's really wonderful. All of my magic power has been transformed into the power of the world. Is this the deity level? With the true God throne and a God realm expert, I am now a true God and a God of Lu? Yes, you are now a God of Lu. When the Dharma Saint saw Jing Qiu's advancement, a smile appeared on his face. That one Senshi wants to plot against your holy Sama Empire and cultivated Jing Fanqing. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the courage. Jing Fanqing is impatient and can't be cultivated at all. He is not as experienced and profound as you. It's a pity for Jing Fanqing. Fortunately, he has recovered his strength and improved further. After all, he is a member of our Jing family. We can't let him be bewitched by Wan Senshi, Jing Qiu said. Next, I will fight with Wan Senshi for control of the alliance of 10,000 immortals. You have to be careful. When necessary, help me. You are now a true god. The Dharma Saint said, true gods are not to be underestimated. They have great power. In the desert, you will create a situation. When necessary, you will carry out a sacrifice. If you can get the recognition of the land of infinity inside the desert, that will be a great adventure. I know that the wildlands and the eastern wastelands have their own wills. They also belong to the land of infinity. The desert I live in is actually called the Desolate Desert. A big reason why I built an empire there is to create the Desolate Desert and then activate the spirituality of the Desolate Desert. Because the Desolate Desert has become a desert, there is no earth chi. Therefore, it has to be activated. When I gather a large number of people and carry out the grand desolate sacrifice in the desert, I will be able to activate the will of the Desolate Desert and fuse it with me. When that time comes, I will be the Desolate Desert, and the Desolate Desert will be me. I will be the king of the desert. So, Jing Qiu had such a big plan. I knew that you would have such a big plan. Therefore, I will groom you. Go, develop your empire. Let us join hands and change the world. The Dharma Saint said. Jing Qiu nodded his head. With a move of his body, he disappeared from the place with the great seat of a true god. Lord Dharma Saint, if you continue to accompany Jing Qiu like this without any means to control him, what if he turns against you? Wu Dangkong said after Jing Qiu left. I naturally have a way. Right now, I'm not afraid of him turning against me. I have already created a medium-sized world. Therefore, I have to be bolder. If I were to be calculative, wouldn't I be at a disadvantage? Don't worry, Jing Qiu won't turn against me. The Dharma Saint entered a whole new realm. As for you, now that the martial saint's abode, the martial emperor has returned. With the help of Wan Senshi, he wants to seize the entire abode. I'm afraid that you will also be affected. Humph! Wu Dangkong laughed. The martial emperor is a good-for-nothing. He was killed by the Celestial Tranquility Department once. Now that he has come back to life, he will just be sending himself to die. Don't underestimate the martial emperor. He is a peerless and ambitious character. It's only because he met that freak, Gu Chansha. The Dharma Saint sighed. He will have a fortuitous encounter in the future. Then what should I do now? Wu Dangkong asked. He wants to obtain the control of the martial saint's abode. Moreover, he has Wan Senshi support. Unfortunately, as long as I offer this talisman to him, that bastard, Gu Chansha, will be able to obtain half of the benefits. Otherwise, if I activate this talisman, the martial emperor will be killed with a flip of his hand. I will help you find an opportunity to talk to the martial emperor. The Dharma Saint thought for a long time. Now, I will go directly to the alliance of 10,000 immortals and discuss a series of things with Wan Senshi. With my current cultivation base and the power of the medium-class world, I am qualified to talk to Juan Senshi on equal footing. After I finish talking to him, I will see if I can help you truly control the martial saint's abode." As he spoke, the Dharma saint also disappeared. Wu Dangkong stayed in the Dharma realm that had turned into a medium-class world to cultivate. She strived to break through the layers of realms as soon as possible and reach the god level. She already had 1/3 of the control of this medium-class world. Every move she made had great divine power. Moreover, she had completely mastered the divine, ominous armor. Even if she did not use the power of the medium-class world, she could still have the power of a sage. This was all Dharma Saint's plan. Jing Qiu tore the space apart and soon returned to the desert where the Holy Sama Empire was located. He stood high in the sky, looking down at the boundless desert. He was thinking about how to transform the desert step by step. Even though he had become a true god, it was still very difficult to change the desert. At this time, a person silently appeared in front of him. This person was wearing a loose robe and a bronze mask. Jing Qiu's body trembled, and he bowed. "Junior pays respect to Lord Juan Senshi. Jing Qiu, you have gained a lot of benefits. You have become a god-level expert and obtained the position of a true god. What do you want?" Juan Senshi asked. "Junior's small achievements are not worth mentioning in front of you, Lord. Whatever you want to do, Lord, just tell me to do. Even if Lord wants my Holy Sama Empire, I will give it to you with both hands." Jing Qiu said solemnly, "In short, Lord, don't do anything to me. I'm not a threat to Lord. With Lord's status and cultivation, if you attack a junior like me, I have nothing to say. I can only accept my fate." "Very good. Your answer is many times more brilliant than Jing Fanqing's. I should have nurtured you," Juan Senshi said. "However, you have chosen the Dharma Saint, so you have gained many benefits. Lord, why do you need to fight with the Dharma Saint now? Lord, you need to carry out the great rite of salvation. Your current opponents are the Celestial Tranquility Department and the Imperial Court," Jing Qiu said. "In that case, Lord, you might as well cooperate with the Dharma Saint and devour other existences. How can you understand the logic behind this?" Juan Senshi said. "However, the Dharma Saint did not give you the position of true God out of goodwill. In fact, he successfully learned the Son of Heaven's God bestowal technique in order to rope in Wu Dangkong. In the past, the Son of Heaven's God bestowal technique could not be cultivated. Only those who obtained the heavenly sacrifice talisman could successfully cultivate it. Now, the Tao of Heaven has changed. As long as one obtains the secret technique, they can cultivate it. The Dharma Saint has already refined the position of true God using the Son of Heaven's God bestowal technique. Now, the position of true God is his incarnation. Do you understand now? In that case, I hope that Lord Juan Senshi will teach me." Jing Qiu knew that the Dharma Saint would definitely have a backup plan. The Dharma Saint actually made me miscalculate once, and I also destroyed his chess piece once, so we're even. After that, I'll discuss with him how to deal with Gu Taxian. Juan Senshi said, "Originally, after he refined the position of true God, your every move would have been within his grasp. But now, I've used my magic power to isolate his senses and confuse him. Although he has advanced to a dimensional realm, in my eyes, he is still too young. I will now teach you the secret to thoroughly refining the position of true God." As he spoke, Juan Senshi sent a thought into Jing Qiu's sea of consciousness. The true God throne that Jing Qiu sat on seemed to completely melt. As it shook and exploded, it was baptized by Juan Senshi's power, completely falling under Jing Qiu's control. Jing Qiu was overjoyed. Lord Juan Senshi is simply like a second parent to me. From now on, I will only follow Lord's lead. Chapter 646. Juan Senshi left. Jing Qiu looked at his disappearing figure, and a playful smile appeared on his face. "Go ahead and fight. After all the fighting, I still have the upper hand. The position of true God is in my hands, and I will use this position to condense my cultivation base, build an empire, gather the fate of the nation, and integrate the fate of the nation into my own body." As he spoke, he bowed to the sky again. "Three great holy venerables. Disciple Jing Qiu has already become a true god. I now pay my respects to the three holy venerables. I hope that you will bless me and help me break the evil and curse." "As you wish." A voice was heard, and then a beam of light appeared above Jing Qiu's head. This light was like a ring, and there were layers behind his head. It seemed to contain an endless world, and it protected his body. It then suppressed and dispelled many of the hidden seals in his body. Once Senshi had bad intentions, so he had naturally set up many hidden things in his body. But now, the halos of the three holy venerables had actually dispelled all of Wan Senshi's seals for him. In this way, Jing Qiu could rest easy. He was now a true god, and his position was extremely high under the three holy venerables. The three holy venerables also needed an even more important chess piece. Right now, among the three holy venerables, even though Yu, who was ranked first, had not yet become a true god, Jing Qiu's potential was immense. The Myrtle Imperial Star, the position of true god, and all sorts of methods, Jing Qiu had already become a giant that could not be ignored. He directly returned to the divine temple of the Holy Sama Empire. Jing Fanqing had already sensed it, and immediately came up to greet him. "There's no need to say more. I know everything about you." Jing Qiu said, "Wan Senshi wants to groom you, and there's nothing he can do about it. But now, the restrictions on your body are very small. As long as my cultivation base rises, it can be dispelled. After so many trials, you have also begun to grow. Now that I have become a true god, I have some ability to resist those giants. It will not be easy for them to easily treat us as chess pieces." "Patriarch, I already know," Jing Fanqing said. "Wan Senshi gave me a small space-time gate. I can now go to various places to build teleportation gates and plunder people and resources to decorate the desert and nourish the people. The Empire's fortune has skyrocketed. If you have the time, you should learn more about the ideas of the Calming Immortal Department. Although the Great Yonko is in a precarious situation because the Dharma Saint has ascended to a dimensional realm and could collapse at any moment. As long as the Dharma Saint doesn't make a move, the Imperial Court will continue to prosper. Countless babies will be born, and the ideas of the Calming Immortal Department will spread more and more widely." Jing Qiu said, "Our Holy Samar Empire is still too weak. The harsh climate in the desert can temper the valiant character of the people, but it also restricts the development of the population. The death rate of newborns is very high, and the population can never explode. Next, what plans does the family head have?" When Jing Fanqing heard that Jing Qiu had become a true god, he was elated. "I want to transform the desert around the empire," Jing Qiu said. "In the past, I didn't have enough magic power, but now it's different. Wan Senshi's alliance of 10,000 immortals has built a new divine land, located in the deep cold snow region at the edge of the eastern wasteland. The cold air and astral winds in the deep cold snow region, as well as the dangerous icebergs, make it difficult for even experts who have cultivated to the golden core stage to fly. The environment can be said to be harsh. I just happened to follow the Tao of heaven and earth to move the icebergs from there and place them in the desert to change the Empire's climate. At the same time, it will provide stable snow water, once and for all. This desert is almost endless, and I don't know where the end of it is. Even if I have cultivated the law phenomenon, it will be difficult for me to reach the end," Jing Fanqing said. "I have cultivated to the God realm, so I can see the end of this desert clearly." Jing Qiu said, "With your current cultivation base, you can reach the edge of the desert in about 3 years of flying. In this desert, there are many oases and countries. Your task is to gather all these oases and countries and become a member of the Holy Samar Empire." Now that Jing Qiu had cultivated to the true god level, he could already create the entire desert. The vastness of this desert even surpassed that of the eastern wasteland and the wildlands, and it contained endless secrets. If he could modify it and stimulate the heart of desolation, the merit and rewards would be limitless. This desert is so big. Jing Fanxing gasped. I am now in the Tao realm of 22 transformations of the heavenly phenomenon level, and I still need to fly for 3 years to reach it. You should know that it won't take long for me to travel through the entire divine central continent. The divine central continent is actually very small, but its status is extraordinary. Jing Xiu said, this desert was originally full of life, but for some reason, a large amount of life was suddenly extracted, causing the desert to become deathly still. What we need to do now is to stimulate the life and find a reason for the disappearance of the desert. If we find it, we can let the life return and fuse it into our world, and then we will truly achieve greatness. Just now, I used the power of a true God to observe the surroundings, and I can already see that in the depths of this vast desert, if we gather all the population of the countries, there would be over 10 billion people, which is definitely not inferior to the Yonko. Wan Senchi's small spatial door is simply tailor-made for us. We have a few steps. First, I will move the snow mountains and glaciers. Second, you will gather the countries in the desert and build the teleportation door. Third, you'll go to the wildlands and plunder the barbarian population and all sorts of resources. Third, we will draw cultivators from the alliance of 10,000 immortals to our empire. Fourth, you must build a good relationship with the great Yonko-S Heavenly Designer Institute and buy and obtain some machines from the prehistoric civilization from there. That way, our empire will develop even faster. Patriarch, I already know what to do. Whether an empire's providence is strong or not depends on its population. Actually, it depends on how united the people are. The more people there are in an empire, the higher the average intelligence and strength of the population, and the stronger the providence. Of course, even if an empire is strong, if the people are not united, the providence will instead attack each other, scattered and not united. In this way, it will be harmful. Jing Fanxing said, we have a natural advantage in building an empire in the desert. The land is vast and the environment is harsh, so we must be united. In addition, Patriarch, you will spread your religion, gathering all the power in your body. You will certainly achieve great success. Very good. You have comprehended the fundamental truth of governing a country. Population and average strength. These are built by piling up resources. Jing Xiu said, therefore, the most important thing is wealth and the people's hearts. If an empire has enough wealth and the people's hearts are united, then it will be truly invincible, a king who can suppress all directions. The reason why the calming immortal department holds the power is actually because of the manufacturing ability of the heavenly demon tree, and then the tree of wishes. If not for that, how could they create an iron plate in the divine central continent? Every day, a large amount of power of wishes and sacrifices enter their world. Patriarch, why don't we do something big? Jing Fanxing suddenly said. What do you mean? Jing Qiu asked. The Great Wei Dynasty. Jing Fanxing said, the Great Wei Dynasty was at its peak a few years ago. They wanted to attack the divine central continent, and even received the support of many factions. But because of the calming immortal department's sudden appearance, the Great Wei Dynasty had no chance at all. Thus, their momentum weakened. In addition, in recent years, the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor seems to be fusing with the Tao and entering destruction, assimilating with the heavenly Tao. Perhaps we have a great chance. You should know that the politics of the Great Wei Dynasty are very messy, a little like the feudal lords of ancient times who fought for supremacy. Because of this, they have never been able to gather a flourishing amount of power. Even the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor is powerless to reverse the situation. Why don't we plot against this nation now? Imprison the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor, refine him, seize power, and reform the dynasty. Won't we be able to reap the fruits of our labor? Your idea is not bad, but the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor is an old saint and cannot be underestimated. With my current cultivation, it is still difficult for me to defeat him, but I will contact the other factions and divide this empire. I still have a few old friends. Now that I have become a true god, I have to contact them. A scheming expression appeared on Jing Qiu's face. I will follow your plan, family head. I will take things one step at a time, Jing Fanqing said. Family head, please rest assured. Very good. We are all members of the Jing clan, and we will eventually restore the Jing clan to its former glory. It is a pity that many of our Jing clan disciples have been murdered. Jing Qiu took a step forward and disappeared. He seemed to be contacting the other factions. Back then, he wanted to rebel and obtain the support of many powerful factions. It was a pity that he was defeated by Zhuge Ye. Now that he had become a true god, he once again sought out those factions, contacted them, and did something big. La Prefecture. A group of people was observing the changes. This group was Dou Yu, Ling Xiaofei, Dou 19, Gu Chench's loose cultivator Drifting Void, and a few cultivators with extraordinary luck. They had been roped in by Dou Yu. These people traveled all over the divine Great Land and finally arrived at La Prefecture. Along the way, almost all of them had many miraculous encounters. Ling Xiaofei, in particular, had a miraculous encounter every 3 steps and obtained many treasures and elixirs. He was almost like a human-shaped treasure magnet. Those treasures were like iron scraps attracted to a magnet, and they all flew toward him. Even Dou Yu was secretly shocked by such a powerful luck. Gu Qinsha had been watching coldly from the sidelines. He could see that Dou Yu was using a secret technique to transfer the luck to Ling Xiaofei. Dou Yu's magic power was almost boundless. He had already reached the 36 transformations, and he could ascend to the Celestial Lord level at any time. This woman could be said to be terrifying. Just as this group of people arrived at La Prefecture and continued to observe, Dou Yu suddenly froze. Ling Xiaofei also seemed to sense something. Big sister. The Dharma Saint has actually ascended to a medium-class realm. What should we do? This is completely outside of our calculations. Even Father didn't plan for this. Dou 19 hurriedly sent a telepathic message to Dou Yu. Chapter 647. Father still hasn't gotten anything from the Hongmeng tree? Dou 19 asked. He is still lacking. Otherwise, how could such a thing happen? Dou Yu said, let's go, let's leave Fazhou. Legalism has cultivated a medium-sized world, so we have to snatch it back. Moreover, since the Dharma Saint is working with the Sky Demon race, then he is definitely preparing for the second demon disaster. From now on, the world will change. Let's see whether or not the calming celestial department can handle it. Yu, did you sense something? At that moment, Ling Xiaofei asked. I do feel some throbbing. Dou Yu still acted like he was only at Dao Realm Transformation 20 in front of Ling Xiaofei. What happened to the legalism? Just now, the Dharma Saint successfully advanced to a medium-sized world. Ling Xiaofei looked into the sky. Originally, with his cultivation, he shouldn't have been able to see through this. Only a God Realm expert would be able to see through some things after the fact. However, Ling Xiaofei actually knew so clearly. This showed that he had many hidden methods. There's actually such a thing? The few cultivators who followed were shocked. The world situation has changed once more. Many things will happen in the world from now on. Who knows how many lives will bleed? Ling Xiaofei sighed. Let's go. Let's leave Fazhou and head to the old capital city. That is where the luck of the entire divine prefecture gathers. There are many fortuitous encounters waiting for us there. This Ling Xiaofei isn't simple. Gu Qinsha, who was in the form of unfettered flow, thought to himself, this kid seems to have a compassionate heart. I can't let Dou Yu harm him. No matter how strong this Ling Xiaofei is, he isn't Dou Yu's match. After following Dou Yu for so long, Gu Qinsha more or less knew some secrets. The group immediately left Fazhou and traveled to the old capital. Up ahead is Frigid Jade Mountain. The water from the Frigid Jade Spring is extraordinarily potent. Even if an ordinary person were to drink it, they would be able to prolong their lifespan, clear their meridians, and resist the effects of heat and cold. Just a few days ago, Commander Yuan Lu of the Celestial Pacification Department obtained a legendary supreme treasure from ancient times, the myriad sounds dragon zither. Unfortunately, it was seized by Wan Senshi and is still tied to that golden watch. Standing on top of a mountain, Ling Xiaofei pointed at the frigid Jade Mountain in the distance and said, "Right now, the Tranquil Immortal Department has sent another great commander called True Jade Du. I think there will be another huge burst of fortuitous encounters here." Don't tell me we're also going to snatch the fortuitous encounter of the Tranquil Immortal Department? A cultivator asked, "We aren't existences on the same level as Wan Senshi. We definitely don't dare to compete with the calming Immortal Department. It's fine." Do EU said, "Since the Dharma Sane has transformed into a dimensional realm, the calming Immortal Sector is in a terrible situation. There are enemies on all sides. Let's wait. The Dharma Treasure will automatically choose its master." Ling Xiaofei said, "If it chooses me, then I won't pass on the responsibility. If it chooses someone else, I won't fight for it. Why don't we take a stroll in the capital and enter the palace to explore?" Do 19 suggested. That old palace is the center of fate, the center of the divine continent. Who knows, there might be even stronger Dharma treasures appearing. It's a little dangerous. Ling Xiaofei shook his head. Ever since what happened to Yuan Lu, the old capital has increased its defenses, and there are even 3 common people's marshals guarding it. The strength of each of the common people's marshals is actually at the 26 transformations of the Tao realm. 10,000 techniques return to 1. We can't do anything about it. Luckily, these common people's marshals don't have any fate to begin with, so it's impossible for them to obtain any fortuitous encounters. If they all had fortuitous encounters, they basically wouldn't be able to survive. A cultivator sighed. It is said that the advancement of the common people's marshals is closely related to that Gu Qinsha. Only when Gu Qinsha advances will they also advance. From this, we can see that Gu Qinsha's cultivation has already reached the 26 transformations. 26 transformations is nothing. Ling Xiaofei frowned. What is terrifying is that this person has cultivated the Heaven Path technique and could transform into anything. Even the ancient ancestor can't see through it. It is indeed terrifying. Do 19 knew how strong Gu Qinsha was. His entire body had been searched clean, and even his memories had been stolen. Let's wait here and not anger the calm Celestial Department. Ling Xiaofei said, "I feel that this place has some fate with me." As he spoke, he sat down cross-legged. Everyone else also sat down with him. At this moment, Do Yu's eyes lit up. Her true body jumped up into the sky, and she looked down at the people below. Ling Xiaofei is getting stronger and stronger. He should be just a step away from reaching the 27 transformations of 2 worlds and being able to tear open space. He also has a strong Dharma treasure on him. Looks like it's time to gather everyone's luck on him and attract the reincarnations of the 2 carefree stars to come into being. The 2 stars of spirit flight and the 2 stars of carefree are fused together. Their luck is far from what it can compare to right now. Ling Xiaofei will probably be able to obtain endless treasures. That Grand Preceptor Wen Hong has obtained the Cauldron of Infinity. This is no small matter. The Cauldron of Infinity represents the core authority of the land of infinity. He can get whatever he wants. Do Yu grabbed at the sky. A formless spiritual light immediately enveloped the small mountain. Gu Qinsha saw everything clearly. He could feel the luck of a few cultivators flowing towards Ling Xiaofei. The luck of this wanderer emptiness that he had transformed into was also flowing away. The so-called luck was the control of the future and the ability to choose one's fate. Originally, the luck of this wanderer emptiness wasn't that great. However, Gu Qinsha's cultivation was profound. In addition, he had obtained the cultivation techniques of the 3 gods of fortune, and longevity. His understanding of luck was extremely profound, even surpassing some of the true gods. Jiang Gongwang, Chang Yuzhou, and these experts were also experts in comprehending luck and manipulating fate. All of their memories were transmitted into Gu Chen's sea of consciousness. All sorts of knowledge was brewed by Gu Chensha. He used the heavenly Tao arts to simulate luck and stimulate all sorts of things. Moreover, he had plundered and refined Wan Senchi's small world tree. This tree contained the supreme Tao of plundering luck. The leaves of the small world tree were made by imitating the sacrificial talisman. This contained the most profound wisdom of Wan Senchi. When Gu Chen's cultivation was a little higher, he could even transform the heavenly Tao arts into luck. When that time came, all sorts of fortuitous encounters and treasures would probably fly towards him. That would be the true king of luck. Now, the luck of this wanderer emptiness that he had transformed into had all been seized by Dou Yu and gathered into Ling Xiaofei's body. No one was aware of this. Gu Chensha didn't care. This was the luck that he had simulated. It wasn't much. He had already calculated that Dou Yu would use this move. Perhaps I can probe this Dou Yu's strength. With a thought, Gu Chen's true body, which was sitting in the small divine prefecture, tore through the void and came over. Who? Dou Yu looked at the void fiercely. An absolute killing intent pierced through the sky and struck Gu Chen's true body. So powerful. In an instant, Gu Chensha felt countless destructive intents rolling towards him. This move alone could already kill a sage. If it wasn't for the fact that Gu Chensha had a dimensional realm and activated its power to protect himself, it would have been difficult for him to escape this attack. The power of a dimensional realm. Your Gu Chensha? High up in the sky, Dou Yu saw Gu Chensha appear not too far away from her. Her face immediately turned frosty as she spoke. That's right, it's me. Gu Chen's true body said. Misty Yu is indeed the most tyrannical of the three celestial venerable subordinates. Just a glance from you was enough to kill a sage. However, Wan Senchi just captured Yuan Lu not too long ago. Now you've come to spy on frigid Jade Mountain. Are you trying to bully us because we don't have anyone capable? You actually know who I am? Dou Yu asked. I stole all the memories of your brother, Dou 19. Naturally, I know what's going on, Gu Chensha said. Besides, there aren't many people in the world who can unleash that attack of yours. I've long heard that Gu Chensha of the Immortal Commerce Department is full of tricks. Today, it seems that you live up to your reputation. However, your cultivation level is too low. If you were a god, I would have to flee right now. But you're at the 26 transformations of the Tao realm, and you can't even tear through space. Even if you can use the power of a dimensional realm, I'm afraid you won't be able to do anything to me. After all, you can't completely use that power as you wish. The power of a dimensional realm is as vast as the starry sky. The higher your cultivation level, the more you can use it, Dou Yu said, but you don't seem to have any killing intent. Are you here to discuss something with me? Misty Yu, you're indeed perceptive, Gu Chensha said. I just want to ask, what are the three celestial venerables' intentions? Wan Senchi wants to carry out the great ritual of salvation, while the Dharma saint wants to carry out the spirit demon plan. The three celestial venerables have no intention of plotting against the central planes. If they did, the central planes would have long since fallen into their hands. Although the central planes have many secrets and might, once they fall into their hands, they'll have to bear the karma of all living beings. The gains don't make up for the losses. The heavenly Tao no longer has the power it once did. This is all suppressed by the Emperor. Without the Emperor, the heavenly Tao would return to normal, and the three celestial venerables would probably still be restricted by the heavenly Tao, unable to break through. If I were the three celestial venerables, I'd help the imperial court to prevent the heavenly Tao from returning to normal. I wouldn't go against the imperial court and trap myself. Chapter 648. Dou Yu mocked him for his low realm and ignorance of the heavens. Gu Chensha roared with laughter. What are you laughing at? Dou Yu asked. I don't understand the three great celestial venerables' vision. Misty Yu, I think you're the one who doesn't understand. Don't forget that I'm someone who has cultivated the heavenly Tao. I understand the heavenly Tao the best. You've all covered your eyes to see the world, but I've also opened them. If we're talking about the future of the heavens, none of you can compare to me. What caused you to be so arrogant and conceited that you actually dare to look down on someone who has cultivated the heavenly Tao? Gu Chensha seized the key point of the question and counterattacked. Instead, he mocked Yu for not understanding the heavenly Tao. You have a sharp tongue. No wonder my little brother was fooled by you. He's no match for you at all. Yu was unmoved. The heavenly Tao is wondrous, but you're only relying on your father's bloodline. You didn't refine it yourself. From a certain perspective, you're nothing more than a profligate son of a rich family. You're much older than my little brother, and you have nothing to brag about. All right, let's not argue. Gu Qinsha saw that words couldn't sway Yu's heart, so he dropped the matter. Miss Yu, what important matter did you come to the Central Divine Prefecture for this time? Can you tell me? After all, my Department of Tranquility is the master of the Central Divine Prefecture. The master of the Central Divine Prefecture. Yu pointed at the Department of Law. The Dharma Saint has already cultivated a dimensional realm. I'm sure you know that as well. Moreover, he's joining forces with the Sky Devil tribe and will trigger a second devil calamity. Your position is in danger, so why are you still talking about being the master of the Central Divine Prefecture? We'll deal with whatever comes our way. There's nothing to worry about. The Dharma Saint has brought about his own destruction, and no one can stop him. Gu Chensha said, I rather admire the three great celestial venerables on this point. They seem to sense some threat and haven't come out to stir up trouble. They're not as shallow as the Dharma Saint. I'll tell you the truth. I came to the Central Divine Prefecture this time to obtain a few crucial treasures. I'll kill anyone who tries to stop me. The Tranquil Immortal Department is no exception. Yu said, the greatest power of your calming immortal division is that dimensional realm. I can also stimulate the strength of that dimensional realm. So all of your calming immortal division's trump cards are in my grasp. Besides, you still have one Senshi and Dharma Saint eyeing you covetously. If you offend me, one Senshi and Dharma Saint will join hands, and Tranquil Immortal Department will immediately be annihilated. One Senshi doesn't care about your meager strength at all. In fact, he doesn't even care about the three great heavenly venerables. Gu Qinsha didn't seem to care about Yu's words at all. So, I think we can cooperate. What do you think? The three great heavenly venerables had definitely formed their own dimensional realms. As the number one subordinate of the three great heavenly venerables, it wasn't impossible for this Yu to use the strength of a dimensional realm. But there were bound to be many restrictions. Even so, Gu Chensha didn't want to recklessly fight with Yu right now. Moreover, he could feel that Yu didn't want to fight either. After all, if she angered the Tranquil Immortal Department, then she wouldn't be able to withstand it. The eruption of all the power of the Tranquil Immortal Department's dimensional realm made her feel a sense of danger. Cooperate? What kind of cooperation? You plundered my little brother's memories and took away the dragon-raising cultivation technique and dragon creation technique. I still haven't settled this old debt with you. Yu said, it seems a bit too late to talk about cooperation now. But I still want to hear just what kind of cooperation you have in mind. In truth, my cooperation is very simple. You help me deal with one Senshi and Dharma Saint, Gu Qinsha said. As Yu heard these words, it was like he had heard the most ridiculous language in the world. Have you lost your mind? You actually want me to help you deal with one Senshi and Dharma Saint? I haven't finished what I have to say. Gu Qinsha said, first, one Senshi and Dharma Saint will definitely become enemies of the three celestial venerables in the future. You will definitely fight each other in the future. Even without the Tranquil Immortal Department, you will definitely fight each other to the death. If my guess is correct, you have already begun planning to deal with them. This time, when the Dharma Saint ascended to a dimensional realm, the three celestial venerables also wanted to make a move. However, the Dharma Saint beat them to it, causing them to fall short of success. That seems to make a bit of sense. Continue. What's the second point? Yu said, the second point is very crucial. Guqinsha came out with a heavy temptation. That is, if you help me, I can help you ascend to the celestial venerable realm. You will be able to jump out of the 3 realms and out of the 5 elements. How about it? What? Sure enough, upon hearing these words, Do-Eu's eyes flickered, as if his heart were surging with excitement. Guqinsha, are you joking? I'm not joking. It's true. Guqinsha said, I know that you have always pursued the path of becoming a celestial venerable. You should know how difficult this path is, and even the 3 celestial venerables do not have the ability to help you ascend to the same boundary as them. But what they cannot do, I have a way. You should also know that I have cultivated the heavenly Tao art. As my boundary rises, I gain unfathomable abilities. If I ascend to the God realm, even you'll have to flee. In addition, you should also know that the heavenly sacrificial decree was once in my hands. Now, although that decree has fallen into Wu Dankong's hands, as long as she carries out the sacrificial ceremony, I can still share half of the benefits. As he spoke, Guqinsha's palms moved. Countless rays of light appeared. Within these rays of light, a sun and moon appeared. They reflected each other, shining brilliantly, able to compete with the true sun and moon for light. Sun and moon shine together. Do-Eu recognized that this was the sun and moon shine together of the son of heaven's god investiture technique. She had heard that Guqinsha had once obtained the heavenly sacrificial decree, but she had never seen it with her own eyes. Now, she finally believed that the rumors were true. Yes, this is the sun and moon shine together. Guqinsha said, Actually, we are now helping Chong Weiyang ascend to the celestial venerable realm. If you don't believe me, just wait. But if Chong Weiyang ascends to the celestial venerable realm, we won't need your help anymore. She can assist in the dimensional realm, but it won't be as powerful as it is now. Do-Eu's eyes pierced through the void, and she saw a shocking scene. In the depths of the boundless space-time turbulence, a huge sphere of the common people's wish slowly rotated. Then a huge tree grew out of the sphere. This tree kept extending in the depths of the space-time turbulence. Then several worlds flew over and hung on the branches of the tree. It was the Tai Heavenly Palace, a small kiliocosm of the Tai mystical sect. The Universe Mystic Gates, minor kiliocosm, the Universe Thunder Pool. The Sky Dance Mystic Gates, minor kiliocosm, the Mystic Magic Lotus Realm. From afar, the Sky Dance Mystic Gates minor kiliocosm looked like a huge lotus that grew in the depths of the space-time turbulence and absorbed nutrients. Now, this lotus was growing on the calming immortal department's world tree and radiating all sorts of colors. It was rumored that the Mystic Magic Lotus Realm of the Sky Dance Mystic Gate was a Khanate cardinal treasure. The ancestral master of the Sky Dance Mystic Gate, the dance god, had obtained a lotus-shaped Khanate numinous treasure from the Hongmeng tree. After countless years of cultivation, it had transformed into the Mystic Magic Lotus Realm. The might of this realm wasn't inferior to the Universe Thunder Pool or the Tai Heavenly Palace. Because of this, the Sky Dance Mystic Gate had once taken second place. It could be said that the 3 great Mystic Gates took turns to be the banker. They would exchange places for the second place to pose a threat to the Black Heaven Earth sect. Now, the 3 great Mystic Gates had actually started to merge with the calming immortal department. Their powers interacted and complemented each other, forming a massive system. Boundless power was stimulated from this massive system and directly poured into the Minor Divine Prefecture. Rumble. The Minor Divine Prefecture had actually started to upgrade into a minor kiliocosm. The Minor Divine Prefecture had devoured so many supreme treasures and gathered so many talents. However, it had a shallow foundation and couldn't upgrade in a short period of time. Now, with the help of the worlds will sphere and the 3 great Mystic Gates, it had immediately upgraded. The 3 great Mystic Gates had accumulated a great deal of world energy. At this moment, they had fused and complemented each other to maximize their power. What do you think? The reason why Gu Qinsha came to Do Yu, tempted him, and pressured him at this moment was for this effect. Now that the heavenly dance mystic gate, the Tai fantasy gate, and the universe profound sect have combined with our minor divine prefecture, the world energy flows with each other. This is in line with the foundation of humanity, such as the circulation of commerce. The three great mystic sects store their own resources like how ordinary clans store grains and treasures. If they're kept in a warehouse, they will grow moldy. What's the use of not circulating? Now, I've established this alliance with the world tree as the foundation to allow the world to circulate. This is the supreme truth that I've comprehended from humanity. It's perfect for the profound mystic gates. What do you think? Impressive. Do Yu observed for a long while, then withdrew his gaze. Your celestial tranquility department is quite impressive. Now that you've formed an alliance with the three great mystic gates, you can communicate with each other. Not only will you be nourished, but you'll also be able to make the best use of your resources. I admit that I've underestimated you, but I'd like to know what method you're going to use to help me become a celestial master. If you can't give me a good explanation, I'll take you as a liar. I've obtained all of the Dharma saints' comprehensions. I know how he resurrected and resisted the call of the heavenly Tao. Of course, that's just one aspect. Besides that, I've also obtained all of the secrets of one Senshi's minor world tree. I've also obtained all of Lord of Seven Stars Jiang Gongwang's memories, as well as the secrets of the Xing Qiong clan's heaven-defying mutation pill. That's not enough for me to become a celestial master. It's just some comprehension. It's not a big change. Do Yu shook his head. Chapter 649. Everyone had something they hoped to obtain. That was their weakness. Do Yu clearly hoped that she would advance to the heavenly venerable realm. Although she had reached the peak of the Tao realm 36 transformations, and her combat strength might be stronger than Chang Weiyang's, it was still a dream for her to advance to the heavenly venerable realm. Even the three heavenly venerables couldn't do anything about it. Advancing to the heavenly venerable realm was no small matter. What did Gu Taxian leave behind? What secret does that golden token contain? Do Yu was really interested. She already knew what had happened in court that day. The two brothers, Lei Jiyuan and Lei Jishue, had been captured because they had offended the golden token. Their clones had been combined and sealed, and they would forever kneel in the square in front of the palace. This was something that the three heavenly venerables couldn't do. Even the three heavenly venerables might not be able to escape from the golden token. The golden token that Gu Taxian had left behind could really help Do Yu advance to the heavenly venerable realm. This realm was something that Do Yu had yearned for day and night. This was because she had been stuck at this realm for many years. Naturally, I won't tell you this secret. Otherwise, wouldn't we be at a disadvantage? Gu Qinsha said, Missy, you must cooperate with us to obtain this secret. Moreover, although you have grasped the Dragon Nurturing Heart Sutra and the Dragon Creation Heart Sutra, you know nothing about the Holy Dragon Heart Sutra. However, I have managed to deduce some of the secrets of the Holy Dragon Heart Sutra. Do you want it? The foundation of our calming deity department is far beyond what you can imagine. The Holy Dragon technique is a little mysterious. No wonder you have so many natural-born sage talents. The power of prayer and sacrifice from a sect of 16 saints is more than enough to surpass any other profound immortal Tao sect. Now that Zhuge Ye has advanced to the deity level, his cultivation base is profound, and his control over it has increased greatly. However, I have something that your celestial peace department needs. Do Yu said, how about this? You tell me the secret of advancing to the heavenly venerable realm, and I will give you something that your calming deity department needs. How about that? Oh, our tranquil immortal department doesn't seem to need anything. Gu Qinsha said, the only thing we need is time. As long as we have enough time, our celestial tranquility department will be able to become the overlord of this world. A family of 16 sages, after all of them become sages, how powerful would they be? I know that among your subordinates are the reincarnations of the 5 seasons gods, Lu Yu, Qianzhen, Mo Chao, Jiao Yang, and Zhou Bu. I didn't get their names wrong, right? These 5 people have great potential. Do, you said, what if I can help them obtain the true God position left behind by the 5 seasons deity? Think about it. In this way, what kind of level would the cultivation of these 5 people reach? The seat of the true God of the 5 seasons? Gu Qinsha's heart skipped a beat. Do Yu's words had greatly affected Gu Qinsha. If Lu Yu and the other 4 people obtained the seat of the true God of the 5 seasons deity, it would be perfect. Their cultivation speed would be 10 times faster or even 100 times faster, which would be beneficial to the stability of the world. It could be said that if the 5 of them obtained the seat of the true God, they would be able to advance to the deity level in a very short period of time, allowing the medium-class world to once again unleash its full power. If the 5 of them became true gods, the overall power of the Celestial Tranquility Department would definitely not be what it was now. In particular, if the 5 of them obtained the seat of the true God of the 5 seasons deity, they would be able to cooperate perfectly without any flaws. Compared to the Dharma Saint who obtained the seat of the God of Lu, he would only be able to unleash 70 to 80% of the power. Even if the Dharma Saint gave the seat of the God of Lu to Jing Xiu, the power that Jing Xiu could unleash would be even smaller, perhaps only 60%. However, it would still be able to increase one's lifespan by 5 to 6 times, as well as many other miraculous uses. However, how could this be compared to Lu Yu and the other 4 people? Lu Yu and the other 4 people were the true reincarnations of the gods of the 5 seasons. After obtaining the seed of the true God, it was equivalent to the gods of the 5 seasons being reborn after a calamity or even going one step further, just like the Dharma Saint and the Martial Emperor. I don't know where the seed of the gods of the 5 seasons deity is, nor can I deduce it. However, there's one thing that I can confirm. It is definitely not in the hands of the 3 great heavenly venerables. If you obtained it, it wouldn't be like this. Right now, you've only grasped some clues. These are actually not very useful to us. Gu Qinsha immediately guessed. Moreover, even if you obtained the seat of the gods of the 5 seasons deity here, I'm afraid that it wouldn't be worth the secret technique to advance to the heavenly venerables. If you have a 100% method to help me advance to the heavenly venerables, it would definitely far surpass the seat of the gods of the 5 seasons. Even among the true gods, only a few can break through the limit and become the heavenly venerables. For example, God Maha and the Great Spirit God. Do Yu said, however, I think that you're mostly bluffing. It is impossible for you to have the specific method to help me advance to the heavenly venerables, right? Of course not. Gu Qinsha laughed coldly. I have absolute confidence. Otherwise, do you think that the 3 great mystic sects would merge with us? They're all people who won't release the eagle without seeing the rabbit. However, from the looks of it now, both of us have something that the other party wants. If we cooperate, we can bring out the best in each other and obtain benefits. How about this? You take out a letter of intent to cooperate. I will see if there is a basis for cooperation, how to cooperate step by step, and what benefits can we obtain from each other. I will see if it is worth it. Do Yu said, it is possible. I already have a plan. Gu Qinsha said, you should also have a minor kiliacosm. Join our world tree and communicate with each other. You can obtain power, and we can also obtain excess wealth and energy from your minor kiliacosm. Wealth is only wealth if it is circulated. If it is not circulated, it is just a rock. Join your world tree series? Do Yu said, you're quite ambitious. I'm afraid that your dimensional realm will swallow up my minor dimension. Now that you've already reached your level, I don't dare to take such a risk. How about this? Let's have a small cooperation first. How about we gain mutual trust? Then tell me, how do you think we should cooperate? Gu Qinsha knew that Do Yu was extremely difficult to deal with. It was impossible to deceive him like he had deceived Do 19 and Wu Dankong. How about killing Xing Qiangshi? Do Yu said. The three celestials' greatest enemy is Xing Qiangshi. However, he was seriously injured last time and has yet to recover. I have already locked onto his position. He is somewhere in the depths of space-time turbulence, and some of his trump cards are also there. If we attack together and borrow the power of your minor kiliocosm, we might be able to seal and kill him. Think about it. If you obtain his body, suppress him in your minor kiliocosm, and slowly refine him, wouldn't that make your minor kiliocosm invincible? Miss EU, your heart is too big. Gu Qinsha couldn't help but laugh. Killing Xing Qiangshi isn't a small cooperation. It is even more difficult than killing the Dharma Saint. Even the current Dharma Saint is a bit weaker than Xing Qiangshi. Even if we add in the minor kiliocosm, we still won't be able to deal with Xing Qiangshi. The news you have is that he is seriously injured, but don't you know that this is just a smokescreen? Do the three celestials not have the confidence that they can deal with him, so they want me to go and test him? This is a great opportunity. Riches and honor come from danger. Do Yu waved his hand. There is something else I want to say. The true god of the 5 seasons throne is in Xing Qiangshi's hands. In the past, he killed the ancient Son of Heaven, and in order to protect the Son of Heaven, he killed the god of the 5 seasons and took the throne. If we join forces now, we won't be able to kill and imprison him, but obtaining the true god of the 5 seasons throne isn't impossible. Also, it is a fact that he is seriously injured. You should know this better than I do, because what injured him was some kind of power left behind by Gu Taxian. Do Yu's words aren't necessarily correct. However, it is possible that the true god of the 5 seasons throne is in Xing Qiangshi's hands. Of course, it is also possible that she isn't. She's just bait for Do Yu. This woman is really hard to deceive, and it will be very difficult to fight with her in a battle of wits and courage. I'll feign civility and probe for more information from her. In the end, she still won't be able to see through my transformation. This is where I have the advantage. If I can find an opportunity to suppress this woman, I'll be able to thoroughly understand the 3 celestial secrets. Gu Qiansha naturally wouldn't be blinded by greed. Instead, he instantly made hundreds of millions of calculations in his mind. He immediately said, Xing Qiangshi is indeed seriously injured. Even Wu Dankong seems to have given up. Wu Dankong took the opportunity to cooperate with the Dharma Saint and refine the divine prefecture ominous armor he left behind. He now has the power of a saint. In this way, it can be seen that Xing Qiangshi really has no time to care about anything else. We have a chance. Tell me, where is Xing Qiangshi? So you're saying that you're working with me? Do Yu asked. Of course. I'll more or less cause some damage to Xing Qiangshi. Gu Qinsha said, Xing Qiangshi is a huge threat to us. He wants to activate the Divine Prefecture Great Arts 100 stage and become one with the Divine Prefecture. That will completely destroy the Imperial Court. We can't stand that. And if he succeeds, the 3 Celestials will probably be killed by him. The 3 Celestials aren't as weak as you think. Do Yu smiled. However, Xing Qiangshi's offensive power is indeed unparalleled. If he explodes, even one Senshi will have to retreat. You can see very clearly that he's a madman. Otherwise, he wouldn't be called the Divine Prefecture's ominous number 1. His baleful aura can destroy anything. Where is he hiding now? Gu Qinsha asked again. Chapter 650. Gu Qinsha had a deep understanding of space-time turbulence as well, and he could immediately tell that the map was real. Countless space-time faults were densely packed together, forming a huge maze. Even a saint would get lost if they entered it. Other than that, there were also some dangerous space-time storms, cosmic tides, and other obstacles. The power of space-time storms was enough to turn a god into dust. In the face of space-time storms, the microscopic world was like a canoe in the raging waves, unable to hold out for long. The cosmic tide was even more incredible. It was a tidal movement that was produced by the universe itself. When it came from the space-time turbulence, countless space-time, worlds, dimensions, and planes would be affected. Within it, there would be endless tearing, destruction, annihilation, and apocalyptic powers. Even a heavenly lord would have a slim chance of survival if they were to encounter a cosmic tide. When a medium-sized world encountered a cosmic tide, the world would basically break apart. Only the kiliocosm could withstand it, but it would still be greatly damaged. Therefore, whenever a cosmic tide appeared, some of the supreme powerhouses of the kiliocosm would escape from their kiliocosm and seek refuge in the endless worlds. Only a behemoth like the endless worlds could remain unmoved under the influence of the cosmic tide. The reason why the demon race had such an aggressive nature and was bent on attacking the endless mainland was because of the cosmic tide. Once the cosmic tide arrived, many of the demon territories of the demon race would be swept away and destroyed, turning countless of the demon race into ashes. Forced to survive, they had no choice but to come to the endless mainland. As for the fortuitous encounters in the divine central plains, it was also partly because of the cosmic tide. To think that the Xingqiang clan had hidden themselves so deeply. But since the three heavenly lords had found where they were hiding, why didn't they exterminate them? Gu Qinsha silently memorized and deduced. He could not trust Oyu completely. The three heavenly lords were doing something important and could not split themselves. Otherwise, how could they have allowed the Dharma Saint to ascend to a medium-sized world and allowed Wan Xinshi to wreak havoc in the immortal Tao? It's true that Wan Xinshi is an old antique, but he thinks too highly of himself. He thinks that the three celestial venerables will forever be juniors and won't improve. How could he not know that the new generation will always surpass the old? Do Yu said, "It's true that Xing Qiongshi isn't easy to kill. But it's exactly because of that makes it even more challenging. There are very few things in this world that I can't accomplish. If I can kill Xing Qiongshi, then it would definitely be greatly beneficial to my cultivation. If this were the Xingqiang clan at its peak, then I would naturally run as far away as I could. But now that the Xingqiang clan is severely wounded and facing the great tribulation of the Cosmos Tide, we might still have a chance. Now that you've formed an alliance with us, the dimensional realm will be much stronger and I won't be able to do anything to you. If we work together, we'll have a great chance. Even if he didn't kill Xing Qiongshi, he could still covet his treasures. This person had collected countless treasures in the ancient era, and they were all hidden in his divine country. If I sneak attack him, he will be able to sense me. However, you have cultivated the heavenly Tao arts, so no one will be able to divine your whereabouts. I can borrow your strength, and the two of us will be able to complement each other. At the end of the day, that's how it is. Gu Qinsha finally understood. If Do Yi want to find Xing Qiongshi, he will be discovered before he even got close. Only by using his heavenly Tao arts could he do all these things. Although his cultivation level was low, there were some characteristics of the heavenly Tao arts that even Empyreans couldn't sense. He could only be careful. For example, Wan Xinshi couldn't sense that he had already infiltrated the alliance of myriad immortals. In short, his heavenly Tao arts were very useful to Do Yu. Fine. Since that's the case, let's work together this once. Xing Qiongshi is still a hidden danger. This time, he was heavily wounded by the power left behind by my imperial father. Therefore, it's not impossible for us to work together to get rid of him. Gu Qinsha wanted to find out more about Do Yu's secrets. However, Xing Qiongshi is the king of anomalies. He already has an indestructible body. Even in the ancient era, when the three Empyreans used the immortal slaying god punishing gourd, they could only tear his body into pieces and suppress it in various places. They couldn't kill him completely. How are we going to kill him now? Not to mention that he's heavily wounded. Even if he's only left with a remnant soul, it'll still be very difficult to kill him completely. This time, we can naturally kill Xing Qiongshi. As Do Yu spoke, a small gourd appeared in her hand. The gourd was the color of primal chaos. It didn't seem to be anything special in her hand, but when Gu Qinsha saw it, his face changed. This is The real, immortal, slaying god, punishing gourd. You brought it out? This gourd's baleful aura is so heavy that even Empyreans wouldn't be able to endure it. Why isn't there any baleful aura in your hand? It said that back then, when the three Empyreans worked together to activate this gourd, the baleful aura of the gourd's baleful aura had injured them quite badly. Unless one is Empyrean, it's impossible to touch the real gourd. Gu Qinsha was truly shocked. With his heavenly Tao arts intuition, he could sense that the gourd before him was real. Although the gourd before him did not have any baleful aura, its aura, as well as the essence of shattering all things into primal chaos, were all transmitted into Gu Qinsha's senses. That's right, shattering all things into primal chaos. This was the feeling that Gu Qinsha had when he looked at the gourd before him. It stayed there quietly, not moving at all. But when it moved, it possessed the power to destroy the world. In my hands, it won't have any baleful aura. It's completely restrained. You stroked the gourd as if they were very close. The two of them had an extraordinary fate. Even the three Empyreans can't unleash its full power. It can't be controlled by the three Empyreans, but it can be controlled by me. This is fate. Otherwise, why do you think I became the number one subordinate of the three Empyreans? How terrifying. Only now did Gu Qinsha feel jealous and fearful of Do Yu. Do Yu actually had fate with this gourd. He was definitely a very dangerous person. Fortunately, Gu Qinsha had probed him. However, he said, this gourd wasn't able to kill Xing Qiongshi back then. Now that Xing Qiongshi has survived and his cultivation has improved, it's even more impossible for this gourd to kill Xing Qiongshi. Back then, this gourd hadn't fully matured. Now, not only is it fully matured, but it's also nurtured another profundity. Do Yu said, it told me that there's a trace of its power in your body. That power didn't kill you, but instead made you stronger. Is that right? Moreover, it said that your heavenly law is very nourishing to it. If you can use heavenly law to nourish it, its power will reach its peak. It might even surpass its limits. It might even be able to kill Xing Qiongshi. Also, you'll be able to comprehend some of this gourd's secrets. Some of my junior brothers, such as God Destruction, have comprehended some superficial destruction principles from this gourd. It had to be said that Do Yu's words were just as tempting as Gu Qinsha's. As the two of them conversed, they used words to tempt each other. They set up layers of traps, and no one knew whether they were real or fake. However, their conditions were extremely good, so it was impossible not to cooperate. Gu Qinsha's heart was like a mirror. Do Yu was qualified to be the number one subordinate of the three Empyreans. Even Empyreans would be very wary of her. He really didn't know why she was fated with the immortal killing god gourd. It was just like how many people in Tai Fantasy Sect didn't understand why the Tai Pearl and Tai Mang Di were fated. Fate was something that couldn't be explained clearly. Now, both Do Yu and Gu Qinsha knew that the other party had thrown out poisonous bait. However, they couldn't help but swallow it. As the saying went, fortune came from danger. Gu Qinsha suddenly felt an unprecedented excitement. A battle of wits and courage with Do Yu could stimulate his improvement. He might even be able to use all of his energy to deal with him. Perhaps he would be able to obtain even more advancement by scheming against Do Yu. For example, if Gu Qinsha wanted to comprehend the Tao of Deviance and advance to the 27 changes of Tao Realm, Seamless Space, and comprehend the power to tier space, he might only have a chance to comprehend them in the battle with Do Yu. Not to mention anything else, Gu Qinsha really hoped to comprehend the true immortal killing god gourd and comprehend many secrets from it. He had merged with the blade energy in the gourd, and his understanding of the gourd surpassed that of a celestial sovereign. Okay, let's work together once. Fortune comes from danger. Gu Qinsha finally made up his mind. Should we head over to the Xing Qiong family now? The longer we delay, the harder it will be for us to recover. There's no rush. There's no need to rush, Do Yu said. I still need to acquire some good fortune before I can have a 90% chance of success. Look down below. That person named Ling Xiaofei has the secrets of the 2 stars of spiritualism. His chi flow has reached the pinnacle, but it's still not enough. If he can summon the 2 stars of the carefree star and fuse them into his body, then he'll reach a mysterious realm. Then he'll be able to acquire even more luck and fortune. Don't you want to see how many magical treasures he can acquire? Everyone has their own opportunities. Gu Chensha frowned. Great Yang's laws forbid stealing other people's opportunities. You're controlling luck and playing with people here. I'm afraid that's not a good path. You can't do anything to me. Do Yu held the gourd in his hand, and a smile appeared on his face. In this world, power speaks louder than words. Unfortunately, although your celestial tranquility department is powerful, it hasn't reached the level where you can truly subdue all the heavens. Now, you want to discuss how to deal with the Dharma Saint. If you offend me, you will be in a mess. You have a right to say that since you have the celestial killing God gourd. Gu Qinsha had to admit that. Since that is the case, then I will wait for your news. If you want to deal with the Xing Xiong family, inform me. Chapter 651. There are many people below you. I don't want to reveal my body and do nothing. Gu Qinsha frowned at Do Yu's suggestion. It's fine. I've left a clone here, Do Yu said. One clone is enough to monitor everything here. If I don't communicate with you, it'll be a problem when we deal with the Xingqiong clan in the future. Then do as you wish. I'm very curious about your fate with the immortal-slaying, God-punishing gourd. Gu Qinsha had divined many things just now, and had already guessed that Do Yu would be a key figure in the upcoming calamity. I'll tell you. Do Yu's eyes flickered, as if she was scheming against Gu Qinsha. The two of them were scheming to the extreme. If there was a chance, Gu Qinsha felt that this woman would definitely kill him. At the same time, he would suppress her. She was too dangerous and would be a huge threat to the imperial court and the world. I heard that you lived a miserable life when you were young. You stayed in the palace of the old capital until the 14th year of the heavenly talisman. When you obtained the heavenly sacrificial talisman, you suddenly erupted, and in a short 10 years, you made a name for yourself. I wonder if you're willing to take me on a tour around the old capital? Of course. Gu Qinsha also wanted to take a closer look at Do Yu. I'd like to discuss the ways of governing a country with you. Mississippi, as he spoke, Gu Qinsha waved his hand, and he descended below the old capital. Do Yu naturally followed behind. Big sis, what's going on with you? And that Gu Qinsha feigning civility. Do 19 had already received the transmission, and was secretly conversing with Do Yu's clone. You piece of trash. You've been tricked by this Gu Qinsha for too long, and you've even thrown away your foundation. Wouldn't that be a huge loss for us? Besides, this person's heavenly Tao arts are very beneficial to me. If I can borrow his heavenly Tao arts to refine my immortal slaying gourd, then I'll be able to truly unleash the power to shatter all things into chaos. This person is full of tricks and changes. I'm a little worried. Do 19 was no longer arrogant. Instead, he was much more cautious. To be honest, he was very afraid of Gu Qinsha. He didn't dare to take revenge or come into contact with him. You've lost all your confidence because of this person. Do Yu said, I need to recover and face this person head-on. Only then will I be able to eliminate my fear and experience a qualitative leap in my spirit. But I can't deal with this person right now. Do 19 was also fuming. There's no rush. Wait until I make that person spit out the things he obtained from us with interest. I'll suppress his arrogance and greatly damage his cultivation. If you continue to fight with him, I reckon he'll be in big trouble. The Dharma Saint is about to start the second devil calamity. Wan Xinchi has issued an order to attack the Calmness Immortal Department, and the Immortal Master is preparing to let the Heavenly Craftsman Institute seize the Imperial Court's power. Other than that, all kinds of powers are getting restless. The Black Heaven Earth sect has also recently come up with a countermeasure, and all of them are targeting the Calmness Immortal Department, Do Yu said. I wonder who will have the last laugh in the end. Do 19 could not see clearly now. Wan Xinchi the Immortal Master, those two old antiques, the Dharma Saint, the Calmness Immortal Department, and some other old antiques from the Greater Thousand Worlds should be here as well. That's right. The experts from the Xinhuang Great World, the Saha Great World, the Jambu Great World, and the Mystique Great World are already making their way to the Endless Mainland. Do EU said, these great worlds have accumulated a lot of resources as well. There are countless experts living in them, all of whom want to witness the splendor of the Endless Mainland. The experts of the Greater Thousand Worlds can't compare to the experts of the Endless Worlds. It's very difficult for high-level existences to cultivate to become heavenly lords, but it's not like there aren't any. Do 19 said, that's not the most important point. If the heavenly Tao changes and the people there become children of the world, they will be able to utilize the power of the Greater Thousand Worlds. That would be terrifying. Do EU said, originally, the Great Thousand Realms were born from the primal chaos Big Bang. No one can control it. Even if it's the heavenly venerables who live in the Great Thousand Realms, trying to control the Great Thousand Realms would be like ants moving a mountain. Even a heavenly lord would be like an ant looking at a majestic mountain range in front of the Greater Thousand Worlds. They were pitifully weak, and it was impossible for them to control the origin force of the Greater Thousand Worlds. But what was impossible in the past might happen now. For example, no one could cultivate the heavenly Tao arts in the past, but now Gu Qinsha had. In the past, sages could not be revived, but now the Dharma Saint had. In the past, the heavenly sacrificial talisman could not be used by two people at the same time, but now it was happening. All of these showed that the truth of the past had been subverted. Perhaps the origin force of the Greater Thousand Worlds had recognized a certain person, and that person was the child of the world. Such a person might really appear, Do 19 said. Do 19 said, it's just like Big Sister. In the past, no one could control the immortal, slaying god, exterminating gourd. This gourd was formed when the primordial chaos tree absorbed the strongest destructive power of the primordial chaos explosion. This gourd is different from any other Khanate spiritual treasure. It was born when the primordial chaos tree encountered a huge opportunity. With this gourd in hand, I fear no one, even one since she can't do anything to me. This is my absolute secret, but the gourd's power hasn't reached its peak yet. There's still room for growth. If I can capture Gu Qinsha and seal him inside, the gourd will be able to transform and reach a whole new level. Do EU said, this Gu Qinsha hasn't comprehended the true transformations and power of the heavenly Tao arts. His cultivation isn't high enough, but I must seal him and feed him to the gourd. I hope Big Sis succeeds. Do 19 placed her hopes on Do EU. Meanwhile, Do EU's true body and Gu Qinsha's true body had already landed in the old capital. The Celestial Calmness Bureau has done a good job governing the world. If not for the devil calamity, within 100 years, the population would have multiplied, or even multiplied tenfold. Then, they would have taken over the wildlands, the ocean, and the eastern wilderness. Do EU pointed at the old capital. The Yonko has created an unprecedented golden age. This foundation was built by Imperial Father, Gu Qinsha said. Gu Qinsha said, if it wasn't for Imperial Father sealing away the many true gods in the sky, as well as intimidating the immortal Tao, the demon race, and even the three great celestial venerables of the world, preventing them from acting rashly, I'm afraid that the world would have truly fallen. Even now, our Department of Calming Immortals is only producing the three-piece human dragon set. The rest of the machinery has been handed over to the Celestial Designer Institute. In this regard, we won't compete with them. That's right. Right now, there are too many people in the world. It's impossible for everyone to obtain the human dragon set created by your Calming Immortal Department. If I'm not wrong, your Calming Immortal Department has created more than 3 billion human dragon pills, 30 million sets of human dragon armor, and human dragon sword. But Yonko has more than 10 billion citizens now, and the population is still growing. Of course, if you focus all your efforts on production, you'll be able to supply them. Do you need my help? Do EU smiled. Ha ha, Missy you, don't tell me you don't understand the way of governing a country? Gu Qinsha said. A country is divided into different classes. If everyone has the three-dragon suit, they'll lose their drive to advance. That's a bad thing. The whole country is like a human body. The feet are the feet, and the head is the head. The head can't grow on the ground, and the feet can't grow on the ground. Our Celestial Calmness Bureau's production of human dragon suits is based on the number of people in the world. It ensures a supply, but it doesn't overflow. It keeps the people in the world motivated. I'm sure you understand the way of governing a country. I can see that you've managed your minor 1,000 realms very well. Do Yu was shocked. This person is hard to deal with. His understanding of the people's hearts is no small matter. He's even above me. If we were to compete in governing a country, I'd lose to him. It's not without reason that Gu Taxian chose this person. Although she was shocked, she said, "You're thinking too much. I have no intention of harming you. Of course, since we're working together, we should let down our guard." Gu Qinsha said, "If we fight and scheme, we won't be able to kill Xing Qiongshi. Instead, we'll be killed." I agree. We need to work together sincerely. Do Yu said, "I'd like to ask you a question. What's the secret behind the rebirth of the Dharma Saint?" "Oh, the secret is very simple. I merely attached my heavenly law incarnation to Na Lu God's true God throne. When the Dharma Saint condensed it, I stole his core comprehension." Gu Qinsha said, "If Missy Yu wants to know, you can exchange it with something of equal value." "How about it?" "I have a secret technique that the three heavenly venerables comprehended." Do Yu said, "This secret technique is called the Three Realms Transcendence Technique. It's also a technique that helps saints break through their bottlenecks and reach the heavenly venerable realm. However, this technique isn't truly perfected. I've cultivated this technique and am very familiar with the heavenly venerable realm. However, I can't cultivate to the heavenly venerable realm. So, I want to exchange it with you and learn some secrets." Three Realms Transcendence Technique. When Gu Qinsha heard this name, he knew that this technique was extraordinary. It had some wondrous ideas. This technique was like the Xing Qiongshi's mutated pill. They were both fantasies that wanted to reverse the heavens. Gu Qinsha really wanted to see it. "Come, let's go to the place where I used to live. We'll talk there." Gu Qinsha felt that he could dig out many good things from Do Yu. However, this woman also wanted to obtain what she wanted from him. Chapter 652. Gu Qinsha hadn't been able to gain the slightest advantage in this exchange of words with Do Yu. This was the most exhausting confrontation he had ever had. Do Yu was indeed terrifying. Forget about everything else. She actually had fate with the immortal killing god punishing gourd, able to activate the gourd's power. Just talking about it, it was already enough to make Empyreans shrink back. If she really ascended to the heavenly lord realm, she would probably be much more powerful than the Dharma Saint. Now, it seemed like she was telling the truth when she said that even Chang Weiyong wasn't a match for her. With the help of this gourd, she could shatter all things into primal chaos. Anyone below the Empyrean realm would definitely be killed. Even Empyreans would find it hard to escape death. This gourd was definitely number one in terms of destruction and killing. No one could compare to it. Even the current Hongmeng tree could not condense an identical gourd. This gourd was condensed by chance when the primordial chaos tree absorbed the destructive primordial energy of the primal chaos explosion. There was only one of it in the world. The gourd was ranked first among Khanate numinous treasures. Of course, apart from the prehistoric Dragon Gate, the Heaven's Sacrificial Talisman, and the Primordial Tree, these three were no longer treasures. Instead, they were some sort of the most powerful key to heaven and earth. In fact, Gu Qinsha really wanted to get his hands on this treasure of Do Yu. If he could get his hands on the immortal, slaying, god-punishing gourd, he was confident that with the help of the gourd's killing power, he could break through all kinds of taboos and slash through thousands of restraints, allowing him to break through to the next stage. In fact, he had obtained the memories of Jiang Gongwang, Chang Yuzhou, the Dharma saint, and the other big shots. Therefore, he had a deep understanding of how to raise his cultivation and make breakthroughs step by step. Gu Chansha engraved these people's profound understanding of breaking through to the next realm step by step from the time they were at their weakest. Then, he used his own understanding to calculate. Therefore, Gu Chansha was not completely clueless about breaking through to the next realm. In fact, he was very familiar with it. He had simulated the state of breaking through countless times. He had a deep understanding of how to break through a divergent. Chang Weiyang had also done an exchange with him and passed on her experience to him. Of course, Chang Weiyang herself also benefited greatly. In her transactions with Calm Immortal Sector, her gains were great. She only profited and not lost anything. This was also the reason why she did not let go of the Calm Immortal Department. Apart from this, she also wanted to borrow Gu Chincha's Heavenly Dao technique to revive Chang Yuzhou. If they could revive Chang Yuzhou, the overall strength of the Mystic Cosmos sect would rise to another level. In the future, there would be some hope of survival. So, the two figures landed in a courtyard at the corner of the Imperial City. The weeds in the courtyard were already as tall as a person, and there were spider webs everywhere. There were also pheasants, foxes, badgers, rabbits, snakes, rats, ants, and other animals scurrying about in the grass. This place had not been repaired and had been abandoned for more than 10 years. Everywhere was a dilapidated and decadent scene. This was the courtyard that Gu Chansha had lived in back then. Do 19 had come here to divine for a while, but to no avail. Now, he and Do Yu had come here again. Let's discuss here. This is my old residence. Gu Chansha looked at the dilapidated scene in the courtyard and shook his head slightly. With a wave of his hand, the weeds here disappeared. The animals in the weeds were sent to the forest outside. The entire courtyard was replaced by a clean and tidy one. The ground was made of jade, green, and crystalline. It was simple and elegant. Even the bricks and tiles in the courtyard had changed into high-quality green jade. In an instant, the dilapidated courtyard had become an immortal's residence. The Heavenly Dao technique is indeed powerful. It never retreats and turns mud, bricks, wood, and stones into jade. Although I can do this easily, it is only maintained by magic power. When I retract my magic power, I will still revert to my original form. Do Yu's eyes brightened. And after you change, even if you retract your magic power, these things will still be fixed. This is the miraculous creation of the Heavenly Dao. Sit. Gu Chansha pointed at the ground in the courtyard. Instantly, a green jade substance surged up and transformed into a table and chair. After he sat down, tea appeared out of nowhere. The tea leaves were colorful and dazzling. These tea leaves are grown in our world. Have a taste. What do you think about the taste? I'm not in a mood to drink tea. Do Yu refused, allowing Gu Chansha to drink by himself. She knew that Gu Chansha was crafty and cunning. He could use ancient curses, and he had the support of a dimensional realm behind him. In addition to that, there was no telling what other crafty plots he had up his sleeve. Most importantly, Gu Chansha had obtained the Heavenly Sacrificial Talisman. Who knew what strange things the Sacrificial Talisman had produced? Seeing Do Yu refuse his tea, Gu Chansha relaxed. His tea leaves really did have some tricks up their sleeves. They were made from the leaves of the myriad immortal world's minor world tree, combined with his own insights, his cultivation of the Heavenly Dao technique, and the power of a dimensional realm. All of these things were even more mysterious and unfathomable. They could mysteriously transfer destiny. His understanding of the Heavenly Sacrificial Talisman even surpassed that of Wan Senshi. After all, he was someone who had obtained the Heavenly Sacrificial Talisman, and now he could get half of the profits. It could be said that each tea leaf he gave Do Yu was equivalent to a small Heavenly Sacrificial Talisman. If Do Yu drank it, even if she couldn't shake this person's destiny, she could at least learn many of her secrets through the feedback of the tea leaves. This could be considered a brazen test. Since Do Yu didn't dare to accept it, Gu Chansha felt much more at ease. This showed that Do Yu hadn't truly reached an unfathomable realm. If Do Yu really did drink the tea as if nothing had happened, then Gu Chansha wouldn't even want to fight with her here. He would simply turn around and leave, waiting for his own breakthrough before he could come back for revenge. The fact that this woman could drink the tea without being affected meant that her cultivation base had truly surpassed Gu Chencha's imagination. Don't underestimate the small tea leaves that Gu Chansha had taken out. They were condensed from the essence of the celestial tranquility master's entire life, and could be considered Gu Chencha's strongest test. Before he knew it, Gu Chansha had already made his move. But Do Yu didn't receive it. Of course, it was also possible that Do Yu was deliberately showing weakness in order to give Gu Chansha a false impression. "Missy Yu, it's a pity that you don't drink this tea." Gu Chansha took a sip himself. This tea is made from one Senshi's Tao-seeking diagram and the minor world tree. I've also obtained a lot of enlightenment, as well as the Tao of destiny. It also contains the fundamental mysteries of the heavenly sacrifice talisman. If an ordinary person drinks it, their destiny will greatly increase, and they can get rid of misfortune and increase their longevity. Of course, this is nothing to Missy Yu. But don't you want to know my secret? All my secrets are contained in this cup of tea. "Good move," Do Yu said. "If I had cultivated to the celestial master level, I naturally wouldn't care about this cup of tea of yours. But now, I still have to be careful. Since you made it so clear, I might as well say it directly. I'm not completely confident that I can deal with the celestial tranquility master, so this is the basis of our cooperation. Since neither of us can do anything to the other, our cooperation is equal. I've always been a person who prioritizes benefits above all else. Even if we're enemies, as long as there are benefits, we can cooperate. My proposal just now is to use the Three Realms Transcendence technique in exchange for the Dharma Saint's secret of resisting the heavenly Tao's call and being reborn. Are you willing? If you can't even agree to such a small cooperation, it would be a lack of sincerity. If you obtain the Three Realms Transcendence technique, it won't be very useful to you, but it will be very useful to Chang Weiyang. Chang Weiyang doesn't need the Three Realms Transcendence technique to ascend to the celestial master level. Gu Chansha was very confident. His words were resolute and decisive. "I think Missy Yu is worrying too much. If I didn't really have a way to ascend to the celestial master level, why would I make a deal with you?" As he spoke, a golden token appeared in his hand. This golden token had the words, "Just as I came personally," written on it. It displayed a majestic might that could shake the heavens. Even the immortal, slaying, God-punishing gourd, which could cut through everything and turn everything into primordial chaos, seemed a little lacking in confidence in front of this golden token. When Do Yu saw this golden token, a complex expression appeared on his face. In truth, if it weren't for this golden token, the Tranquil Immortal Department would have been attacked by many major powers. This golden token was their greatest trump card. It was even more terrifying than the immortal, slaying, God-punishing gourd. Even the heavenly sacrifice talisman, the Yorwild's Dragon Gate, and the primordial mist tree couldn't compare to this mysterious golden token. Many of the old-timers were well aware of this. Then are you not willing to use the Dharma Saint's heavenly Tao resistance or to exchange for my Three Realms Transcendence technique? Do Yu asked again. The golden token in Gu Chansha's hand disappeared. It seemed to be a projection. He clapped his hands and said, "Third sister, the transcendence technique isn't very useful to me. We don't need it. I think the Dharma Saint's heavenly Tao resistance art can be exchanged for something else." "Then what do you want?" Do Yu stared at Gu Chansha as if he could see through him. "I want the three Empyreans to perceive the primordial mist tree." Gu Chansha bluntly said, "You should also know that I transformed a tiny blood-sucking demon vine seed into a 7-colored demon vine, the touch of God and ghost, the heavenly Fey tree, the tree of hope, and now the world tree. All of these things are based on perceiving the changes of the primordial mist tree. However, the primordial mist tree, I understand, comes from the memories of many masters. I haven't seen the primordial mist tree with my own eyes, nor do I understand its mysteries. The primordial mist tree doesn't exist in the same space-time dimension as us. I can use the abilities of a dimensional realm to go there, but I don't have enough time. Furthermore, the primordial Ming tree was very difficult to comprehend. Even if one were to see it, it would not be something that could be done in a day or two. The three Empyreans have been plotting against the primordial mist tree for many years, and their comprehension of the tree is no trifling matter. I fear that their comprehension far surpasses that of any giant. If I can obtain these comprehensions, my world tree will take another step forward, and my cultivation will also reach the peak. Missy, what do you think? Chapter 653. Gu Qinsha immediately grasped the crux of the matter. The most important thing right now was the secret of the Grand Mist Tree. If he could obtain it, then Gu Qinsha could push the world tree to new heights and undergo the strongest transformation. This would increase the dimensional realm's strength, stabilize its accumulations, and enrich its background. The strength he could display would also become increasingly formidable. This was currently the safest method and also the best way to obtain the greatest benefits. Good idea. Your idea is quite good. Dou Yu thought for a long time before slowly saying, "It seems your wisdom isn't much worse than Zhuge Ye's. No wonder you were able to manage the calming immortal department to such a massive scale. In just a few years, you were able to contend with Empyrean-level giants. That is equal to 100,000 years of savings." However, the three Empyreans have comprehended the essence of the Grand Mist Tree to an extremely profound level. If you want to use the Dharma Saint's method to resist the heavenly Tao to exchange for the Grand Mist Tree's secret, that is simply impossible. Unless you add something else? What do you want to add? Gu Qinsha also knew that the Dharma Saint experience was something he had casually obtained. As for the Grand Mist Tree's experience, it was something that the three Empyreans had poured their blood, sweat, and tears into. The three Empyreans even wanted to capture the Grand Mist Tree. In these past years, they had been scheming for the many natural spirit treasures on the Grand Mist Tree and had personally plucked many of them. Even the clear turbid axe was something they had recently obtained. How about the release bow and the constant and impermanent arrows? Dou Yu smiled. This magic tool can be used for an equivalent exchange. This treasure is no good. Gu Qinsha waved his hand. This treasure is related to the supreme secrets of the Buddhist sect. Perhaps it is the key to opening the Buddhist sect's treasury. During my cultivation, the heavenly Tao arts have already seeped into this treasure. This treasure has fused with my mind and soul. I need to refine it until it becomes a part of my body. If I were to exchange it, it would completely disrupt my cultivation plans. Even if I obtained the Grand Mist Tree's secret, the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. I'm not afraid of telling you this. That's not good. Right now, the only thing that is valuable to you is this treasure. Dou Yu said, "Besides that, there isn't anything else in the calming immortal department that I want. The dimensional realm's common people's wish sphere is the foundation. As for the sovereign ruler's gold medal, I wouldn't dare to take it. As for the rest, there are no other treasures that are worth my attention. How about this? I'll help you condense this immortal, slaying, God-punishing gourd and use the heavenly Tao to feed it. Then, I'll teach you the secret technique of the Dharma Saint." Gu Qinsha said, "I think your immortal, slaying, God-punishing gourd also needs to be able to unleash the full power of my heavenly law dharmic dish. That's a good idea. However, your body already contains the killing intent of the immortal slaying God, slaying flying dagger. If you were to insert the heavenly Tao technique into the gourd, you'll be able to see through the secrets within. This would be a form of help to you." How could Dou Yu not understand what Gu Qinsha was thinking? Looks like it won't be easy for us to cooperate. Both sides have their own concerns. Gu Qinsha shook his head. If we cooperate, we won't be so close. My cooperation with Chong Weiyong taekwondo, and the others is much simpler. In truth, if you and I cooperate wholeheartedly, we can both make massive progress. I'm sure you know this. Didn't you just say that even if we are enemies, as long as there are benefits, we can cooperate? In truth, as long as you cultivate to the Empyrean realm, you can freely roam the heavens and the earth. You can completely break free from your shackles. This is something that only you and I can do. How about this? Let's be open and honest. We can cultivate together and exchange our experiences. How about that? If we want to exchange our experiences, then we can only obtain them by fighting. How about we fight in the turbulent flows of space and time? Dota, you said. In a fight, we can naturally obtain our own secrets and cultivation. I'm not your match unless I use the strength of my dimensional realm, but that would be meaningless. Gu Chunsha waved his hand dismissively. Our calming immortal department's dimensional realm has only just formed, so our accumulated strength is still shallow. To waste the strength we have accumulated in unnecessary battles is just too wasteful. If it were any other master, even if it were a saint, then Gu Chunsha could use the strength of his dimensional realm to directly suppress them. But against Doyu, he didn't have full confidence. If he fought with Doyu, he would likely consume a massive amount of strength. If his opponent didn't have the immortal slaying god executing gourd, then he could suppress him. But with the gourd and the human treasure, it would be extremely difficult. Without absolute confidence in victory, Gu Chunsha didn't want to take any risks, nor did he want to waste his strength. As for Gu Chunsha himself, he simply wasn't a match for Doyu. Unless he cultivated to the god realm, it was impossible for him to resist at all. Even if Doyu didn't use the immortal slaying god executing gourd strength, he would still be able to toy with him in the palm of his hand. It had to be known that even if Doyu didn't have a gourd, he would still be number one amongst the countless outstanding disciples of the three Empyreans. How many experts did the three Empyreans have under them? Gu Chunsha knew in his heart, out of so many amazing people, to be able to be number one meant that he was even more terrifying than the heaven and earth sect leader. How about this? I will use a small incarnation to mimic Tao Realm 26 cultivation to fight with you. It will be in this small courtyard. As he spoke, Doyu's body moved, and a barrier enveloped the small courtyard. I've already used a primordial barrier to envelop this place. Even if saints were to fight each other, none of their powers would leak out. I'm very curious as to how powerful your cultivation base is. Shortly after, another Doyu appeared in front of Gu Chunsha. As expected, this Doyu was at Tao Realm 26, the 10,000 techniques back to one realm. Doyu's incarnation said, "Now, we are at the same realm, and I won't use any treasures. I just rely on the use of strength and spells. Logically speaking, this incarnation of mine shouldn't be your match. At the same realm, the Heaven Path technique is invincible. But I want to try. That is possible." Gu Chunsha looked at Doyu's avatar and said, "It's best to have a spar like this and get to know each other better. However, if Miss EU can't win, you can raise the level of your avatar, because my body has completely refined the all-encompassing obliteration stick. This stick also contains the ability to obliterate all-encompassing obliteration sticks. Therefore, although I haven't reached the seamless realm, I can actually tear the void apart. It is okay, go all out." Doyu said. "Okay." Gu Chunsha's body flashed, and his fist arrived in front of Doyu's incarnation. Doyu nodded her head. "Not bad." She raised her palm, and a surge of magic power condensed into a spiral spike. Suddenly, it pierced out and faced Gu Chunsha's fist. The moment the two of them clashed, Gu Chunsha felt that her technique had pushed her spell to the extreme. It was totally out of his expectations. Now, Doyu's spell quality was true dragon technique grade 5, the same as common people general. But the method she used exceeded the limits of certain theories. The changes were really subtle. With one stab, even his spell couldn't block it, and it was about to be pierced through. Break! Gu Chunsha's fist shook, and he had already used the secret of the common people heaven mending technique. With one move, Do Yu's incarnation totally collapsed and turned into dust. Good, as expected, my 26 transformations spell incarnation isn't your match. Even if I use the heaven which 36 hearts, I still can't do anything to you. The 36 hearts are an ancient witchcraft fist technique. They are split into anger, sadness, resentment, love, endurance, thought, evil, kindness, intent, punishment, fear, thought, worry, etc. This technique has been lost for a long time. Once it is used, it doesn't attack spell but the heart. Just now, I used a mind needle and you were actually able to casually destroy it. This is the common people heaven mending technique, a Tao that you comprehend on your own. As expected, it is amazing. Do Yu formed another incarnation. This incarnation's strength actually increased by a realm, reaching the 27 transformations, 2 worlds seamless realm. This is the top technique of the heaven, which 36 hearts. Rumor has it that the strongest martial art of heaven shaman is the 36 hearts. Basically, it encompasses all the important emotions within it. If the 36 hearts martial art is gathered, it will be able to unleash its greatest power. It's almost as if all living beings are united. Gu Qinsha said, I've seen the rage fist and the grief fist. The rage fist represents the slave heart, while the grief fist represents the false heart. Legend has it that after the ancient witchcraft was destroyed, the 36 hearts fist technique was lost. Now, at most, only 10 hearts can be found. Could it be that you've learned all 36 hearts martial arts? If all 36 hearts are gathered, even if the ancient emperor mastered the sun and moonshine together, he wouldn't be his match. Only when all 36 hearts are gathered can they be broken. However, no one in the ancient witchcraft can use the 36 hearts fist technique, not even Xing Qiongshi. Xing Qiongshi knows ancient witchcraft, but he isn't from the witchcraft. He also didn't learn the 36 hearts fist technique. Rumor has it that the 36 hearts fist technique is hidden within the sorcerer ancestor's bone plate. Now, it's in the hands of the great spirit god. The sorcerer ancestor has been completely devoured by the great spirit god. The great spirit god might use the sorcerer ancestor's bone plate to find the lost 36 hearts fist technique. Once he masters it, he'll be even more terrifying than Wan Senshi. Do Yu said, I only know the 13 hearts fist technique. I haven't learned anything else. The 3 celestial venerables have been trying to find all of them, but unfortunately, they've fallen into the hands of the great spirit god. It looks like there's no hope. If I remember correctly, the great spirit god is your mortal enemy. The hatred between us can be resolved. You just screwed over my brother once. That's nothing. The great spirit god killed your mother. You know quite a bit. Gu Qinsha could tell something from the previous attack. However, Do Yu hadn't shown his true abilities yet. He was using the ancient witchcraft. The ancient witchcraft was powerful, but Gu Qinsha wanted to see Do Yu's own Tao. Only with Do Yu's own Tao could he see the core of it. Only with Do Yu's own Tao could Gu Qinsha use the heavenly Tao to see all of his memories. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.